What up, bosses? Hope you're having a good night so far. So, if you're joining us, we've got coming up the NA Battlerite PlayTourney Q4 2v2 tournament. So this is the last of the qualifiers. Over the past few weeks we've had the previous ones Q1, Q2 and Q3 with all the finalists, including two knights who are going to be moving on to November the 11th, so there will be no Battlerite tournament next week, with the final one taking place in 2 weeks' time on Friday, starting at 7 PM, which we'll be seeing the EU teams, the 8 teams from the previous 4 tournaments, going to be battling it out with the winners taking high seed. And there's going to be $250 up for grabs for EU and NA, so there's a lot to play for. We've got a fully booked out tournament tonight. We're going to be a couple minutes away from actually starting up. We're just waiting for the teams all to log in. We'll be able to get underway. We saw some real fun. It was probably actually the best. I don't know if it was necessarily the best tournament from the EU one, but it was certainly a lot of fun to cast. The winners were Fiori running the Shifu and Ascot comp. It was really deadly. Previously you've seen the Croak and Jade making a nice combo, but this was the same sort of thing. Shifu would go in with jab and toss, use his in-cap from his EX ability, which would keep them in place for like 2 seconds. Ascot then could rotate down, get his Molten Fist off, which stuns them, and then Shifu just unloads and Ascot gets 2 projectiles off as well, and it was just crazy damage against the Lucy and Tear. It was a good game. I think it was the last round, which is the best of 3. Currently the games are now actually 5 rounds instead of 3. I believe they ended up 5-3 in the last one. It was pretty close. It was pretty close. So it'll be interesting to see what comps we actually get pulled out. We did see some Jamong, didn't see any Rukan. What the American guys have put in store for us tonight. But yeah, it would just be a couple minutes plus for any of you guys join in, and we'll be able to get underway. As I did mention, it is now 5 rounds instead of 3 rounds. It didn't seem to make the process any longer. The games were pretty damn quicker in the EU one early on. With the final and semi-final still being the best of 3, so it's going to be 5 rounds. Or depending, it could potentially be 9 rounds, and then potentially 2 more games depending on how things go. Like I say, the 11th of November will be the big final when it all goes down.
We wanted to run, we wanted to fall together. Back then our world seemed so clear. We grew so bright, shimmering lights around us. We take flight into the sky. How many worlds would you cross to use the light that's right in front of you? There is no light on the other side. I say, look straight ahead and you will see. You will see. You will see. How many worlds would you cross to use the light that's right in front of you? There is no light.
Also, a quick reminder, if any of you guys that are logging in and haven't noticed, if you do actually own a Razer product, you may have seen if you jumped in game already, there's some new fancy green mounts running around. If you have a Razer product, you can actually register your account. You have to actually install some software, and by doing so you get one of those cool green mounts, which is pretty sweet. I mean, you might actually see a you on today. So we're just setting up our first game of tonight. It'll be about 2 minutes. So just creating the lobby. They're going to pick the map up, and we'll be able to get underway. Just sorting everything out. So the two teams that are going to be facing off today are Juice Vault, who are our bottom side team. They're going to be both rank 11s. Dip and Alpha Tester's favourite champion is Paloma, whilst Fresh with a 5, favourite champion happens to be Freya. So we'll see if they decide to actually play this into the game, whilst the red side team are Drama, both rank 14s, favouring Iva and Lucy, as we do actually currently have Lucy picked for either team at the moment. Lucy seems to be a very popular pick during this current tournament scene, so we'll see how this actually pans out. As we get in, here we go then. So this is going to be our first game of tonight of the NAQ2 PlayTourney 2v2 event. So again, the winners from today, and the finalists, the runners-up as well, will be moving on to November 11th, which is going to be the ultimate final with all previous winners and finalists going head-to-head for $250 for EU and separate for NA. So we're going to be seeing the blue team picking up Ascar and Lucy, with Lucy and back O. Which is quite interesting. Again, we've seen this over the tournament, over in the previous 3 rounds, that a lot of the Lucy back end. I haven't really liked it all that much. I did, but actually when we were waiting for this tournament to start, we played a little bit of it earlier today, and I'm not really a massive fan of it. But we'll see how they can pan out. If he can make good use of the wall, we'll see what happens. But Ascar's gonna be able to poke him down, and if he can avoid the incoming damage, and he has his double dashes, he should be alright. As either team battling away, we do see a nice panic coming onto the blue side of Ascar's middle orb is about to spawn, and I'm sure this is going to be very well contested. As Ascar getting some nice damage down onto the bottom Aku, it looks like blue team, red team, I was a nice petrified coming out of Lucy, and was actually able to steal that away then. As Ascar with his incoming damage has already got his ultimate ready, he's going for the Infernal Scorch onto Lucy, not really making too much happen here, but she has actually dropped under 50% health from incoming damage. He does miss his Molten Fire as a nice dash coming out from Bako to avoid the incoming damage there. Nice barrier from either team here as middle orb is once up again, and we're 50 seconds in, but heroic charge nicely onto Ascar. What a well juke. There was some good reactions there as he's able to avoid that incoming damage, and I think that could sway this favour in the blue side there, but Baku keeping up the pain train. A nice fireball is going to actually be able to dodge that incoming spear. A nice dash. We need to see a second Infernal Scorch coming out, dropping both the red team under 20% health, as Baku not letting the aggression die down and makes a nice valiant leap along with his charge as the third middle orb is up. It is actually going to be picked up by the red side here. A nice block coming in. With 40 seconds remaining, it looks like the blue team are going to be able to pick this up. A nice barrier coming in by Lucy, and a nice shield actually coming in from Baku as well, but I think they've taken too much damage. It's going to be the third Infernal Scorch most likely being lined up right now. And that's going to be GG. The red team just took too much poke. They had a slight chance of turning it around, but yeah, very well played by Ascar, getting third ultimate that game. It was GG. Great start. So we'll see how this goes. So again, this is slightly changed from previously. In the previous games, the previous tournaments, Q1 to Q3, we saw best of threes, or first of three. In this case, it's going to be first of five. And that's going to be going throughout the whole tournament, and with the semi-final and final being a best of three with first of five rounds. A nice charge coming in from Aku as he's put some big hurt onto the blue side Lucia. Shield is actually going to keep her pretty healthy for the time being, but she's able to heal it up, and Askar's actually chunking on the red side. Middle orb is up. Once again, we do see him miss his Q here. Is that going to be able to punish? We'll wait and see. A nice R coming in. He's going to block some incoming damage. With a nice steal coming in by the blue side. It's going to be important as we see Askar uses Infernal Scorch once again. A nice hit does actually split both targets as Baku completely out the fight here, and Lucy's completely left on her own. A nice ultimate coming in from the blue side Lucy. And they should be able to finish this one off nice and easy. I'm not really sure what happened. Potentially got panicked whilst we weren't actually looking. Nice heroic charge, but it's all a bit too late, unfortunately. And this is what I was talking about, you know. I just feel they're going to get outranged here, and they're really going to struggle. So GG, that's going to be 2-0 for our blue side. Nicely done. As they take out the little pumpkin seeds whilst we wait to the next round to start. I think it's really going to be hard, you know, even if Baku lands some nice charges, you know, potentially get some nice stuns. Really, if Askar's on point with the double dashes, he's going to be able to avoid all of it. And if he does get caught, he's just going to be able to jump out again. And at that point, I feel the blue team then start outranging them and healing up, as we've already seen through the previous first two rounds. He isn't really going to make too much with his shield dash, and does actually miss his charge as well and his leap. And at that point where he misses all his skill shots, he's going to get poked down quite nicely, but hasn't actually been punished for it just yet, as middle orb is going to be spawning up again. Nice two projectiles coming in from Ashgar, as the blue team looked pretty good to pick this. There's a nice fireball there to make sure that Lucy couldn't get a shot in. Nicely done as he picks up both health orbs. And the thing is here is Askar's just doing so much more damage than Bako's doing to the blue side Lucy. A nice Infernal Scorch is actually going to put him away. Does split both targets once again as the blue team looking in a pretty commanding position here, using his leap to get behind the shield. A nice fireball once again is going to be able to keep them out of harm as they unleash the pain train on the red side. And it's only a matter of time now before they finish these guys off, and it's really going to be hard. A nice heroic charge, but again, you know, the damage just isn't there. Lucy's able to block it, most of it with her shield, and anything else is just going to be healed up at this point in time. Another Infernal Scorch once again, and Ashgar he's just on point with most of his skill shots. He's constantly landing those projectiles, and even though they haven't necessarily secured the middle orbs, because he's been actually putting out so much damage, once again he gets his ultimate, which is just massive. And making good use out of his ultimate. That was really well played. As the blue team take this through now at the moment, I think it's going to be there's going to have to be a big slip up for the red team to really turn this around. I'm not really a fan of it, as I've said countless times over the tournament, but people still keep seeming to pick it. But maybe one day I will be proved wrong, but I haven't been just yet. I just feel they really lack the damage, you know. As much as I do love Baku, he's probably my favourite champion, and I just feel with Lucy there just isn't enough going on for them. He really wants to probably be lined up with like a carry, like going in with the Askar potentially. Otherwise they just kind of get pwned like they are at the moment. But maybe there is hope. You know, the blue team only have to make one mistake. They're 3-0 up. Maybe they start getting a little bit cocky now and make that mistake, and they could all suddenly turn around. As you see, a nice panic coming in by the red side, as middle orb's about 3 seconds from spawning up. It's going to be quite an important orb to get. But either team, obviously, we're trying to get the almost a lot quicker. Actually, some nice damage coming onto the blue side Astra at the moment, but he's able to secure middle orb in the process, which is going to give him that bonus health. Chucking this fireball wasn't really necessary here, as the red side are currently split at the moment, and this is where it starts going wrong. A nice Infernal Scorch is actually going to pull him away from that heroic charge, and I think Baku misses on the blue side Lucy there. And the problem here is it was kind of looking okay for the red team, but then what do they do after that? Once their cooldowns are down, Asgar just starts unleashing all these big ass projectiles. Nice fireball. It does look like the blue team will once again pick up the middle orb, with Lucy chucking out her ultimate, and that is actually going to finish off. That was a really nice knockback on Baku to make sure that he stayed in that part of the goo. It's not a place where you want to be. Nice, all three projectiles, and once again we're going to see his ultimate tear apart Lucy. Poor Lucy. She's been on the receiving end of that receiving end of an Infernal Scorch too many times this game. GG. Very nicely played by the blue team. I don't feel the red team are necessarily doing badly, but I just don't see like what more can they really do here. That's my biggest sort of issue with them. But maybe we have a comeback. 5 rounds. It's going to take the 5 rounds to turn it back. Never say never. As we go in, here is charging in the legendary Goblin Mount, carrying in the King Naz. Backo, he's going to have to certainly start living up to his name if he wants to turn this one around, as he does actually get a nice charge, but does miss his leap onto Lucy as she uses a barrier to avoid the incoming damage. And this is it, where Asuka's already dropped the red side Lucy under 50% health, and the blue side Lucy is looking in no danger whatsoever, as middle orb is up once again. It might not even get taken this time, as big trades are being put down. Heroic Shield coming in by Baku, and another Infernal Scorch already 30 seconds into this round is going to put some nice damage on Lucy. Asuka choosing to go for his X-Shift ability to get the bonus heals off his auto attacks there, not necessarily needed. And once again, Baku uses heroic charge, nice hit, but where's the damage? This is the issue. Nice fireball is going to avoid any incoming damage, and the blue side really have this in matter of time. Red team do actually pick up middle orb, but it's only really delaying process. We've got about a minute left before we start entering sudden death here. Some nice shots. Asuka's been on pretty point with his abilities this round. Nice bounce back. Somehow Lucy is actually still alive. Good use of the phone round, and this potentially could be the red team. A nice petrify coming out of Lucy. We'll actually keep him alive for this time being, and somehow, Asuka still survives. GG. Wow, I'm amazed that he was actually able to turn that around. That was really well played. GG. I don't know how he actually survived that, and he actually used, it was really well played because he did actually use his Molten Fist. Instead of going for that, he used his Petrify, which does use up some of your energy, but it was really nice and was able to keep Baku from finishing him off. I think if he got that, they take it for another round, but it was always going to be hard. There's just too much damage coming out of the blue side. So GG, they're going to be moving on to the next round. As that was over pretty quickly, I imagine we might have a little wait before the next round. So I will get the brackets up for you bosses, and we can see who's going to be moving on. I'll keep you informed what's going on. So this current bracket is at the moment until the results from the previous games, which are currently playing, until they come through. I think we still have, there's about sort of 10 games I can see that haven't finished yet. Let's say our game was over pretty quickly there. They'll be moving on. I'll let you know when we'll be casting the next one bosses. But again, the winners and the runners-up will be moving on to November 11th, where there's going to be the $250 up for grabs with all the previous winners and finalists, which should make one hell of a tournament, as we've had some big players coming through to the final rounds. And hopefully some interesting comps. I'm really looking forward, I'm hoping that to see some Shifu and Asuka versus Croak and Jade. That's my dream matchup for the tournament, but we'll see what happens. It looks like it's probably going to actually be about 5 minutes bosses, a little bit longer, as they say that game was over pretty quickly, with it being 5-0 there from our blue side. The other teams just can't compete that quickly, so I'll keep you guys posted on when the next game will be up. It shouldn't be too much longer bosses, and we'll be able to get underway for our next round, which will again be first to 5, with the semi-finals and the finals being best of 3s. We're just waiting for the final two teams to report in bosses and we'll be able to get underway. I would say our game that we first commentated over went pretty damn quickly. I really don't like the whole Mako and Lucy combo. And obviously Lucy versus Lucy is never going to be great, but with Asuka on top it was just way too much for them to handle. He was on point, was throwing out his damage. I think he was getting at least 2 to 3 ultimates per round. It was just too much for them to handle, really. So we'll see what we have moving forward. Hopefully we get to see some Rook. I'd like to see some Ivor as well. We haven't seen too much of her this tournament. I think she's a really underrated carry. In the right hands can be deadly. But we shall see. Well, I'll keep you posted on the situation. Shouldn't be too much longer, bosses. Also, don't forget, bosses, whilst we are waiting at this moment in time, I do apologise for the little bit of a longer wait. I say the game was just so quick. Shouldn't be too much longer. There won't be a tournament next week. This is the last qualifier, so we've already had previous the 1, 2 and 3 over the past 3 weeks, and everyone, or all the finalists, will be playing on Friday 11th November, EU 7 PM and midnight for NA. That's my time. It'd be 7 PM for you guys in America for the NA tournament. And there's going to be $250 up for grabs each for the winners there. So it should be really good. We've had some big players getting free, like the likes of Condemned, who was actually ranked 15th in the first tournament, who completely crushed everyone. And we've seen some nice combos like earlier today in the EU tournament with the Asuka and Shifu, the Croak and Jade, which that's what I'm hoping for, that's what I'm dreaming of. We also did see Jamong and Rukan used and winning in last week's Q3 in the EU side, NA side, sorry. It was really good. So hopefully we'll see some more interesting comps as we go on. But yeah, big hype for that. So, and for any of you guys that Interesting, I'm going to be doing a 24-hour stream next Saturday as well, starting from around about 9 AM, which will be English time. And we're playing a mix of Battlerite, Paragon, League, and some Titanfall 2, as that's now out. It's pretty cool. But yeah, shouldn't be too much longer, guys. Just hope that our game lasts a bit longer this time, eh? Okay, it looks like we are ready. We're just setting up the draft lobby, and we're going to be about a minute, bosses, and we'll be able to get underway for our next round. Which is going to be our knockout stages leading on to the quarterfinals. Okay, we're just waiting for the final member to join in, and we can get underway. So this is actually the team that we're going to be casting over are the team that we just watched in the previous round. Cho, who is rank 14, and his buddy Andal, who's rank 14 as well. They went with the Asuka and Lucy, which were very dominant over Bako and Lucy in the previous round. And they go by the name of Drama. There wasn't too much drama in the last one. They won that pretty convincingly. Then we're going to be seeing Roundbox, who's part of the team Sample Tex. He's ranked 14 himself. His favourite champion is Older, the Keeper of Time. And his buddy, who isn't currently with us at the moment, he should be joining very shortly, is Heat with a 3, because 3 is better than E. Himself is rank 13, and his favourite champion at this point in time, or most played champion, should I say, is Asuka. Which could make things quite interesting. The Older Asuka combo could be quite nicely. We'll see how it pans out. So again, this is actually going to be, compared to our previous tournaments, the previous 3 PlayTourney that we cast over, this is actually now a first to 5. So before it was first to 3, we've added a little bit extra length to it, which didn't really seem to make too much difference in our first round tonight. And the NA tournament was actually over pretty quickly, considering every game was a bit longer. Here he is, the founder. I wish I'd actually found out about the game a little bit earlier, when these guys have been alpha testing. Yeah, really nice. I haven't actually heard of Bloodline Champions before until this sort of blew up on Steam, and it's been great. So they're just going to make sure they're happy with the map, and then we're going to be able to jump in. So it's 2 14s versus a 14 and a 13, so pretty evenly up for what it is, and it should give us quite an interesting game here. Hopefully we won't have too many mirror matchups. It does suck, just the way it is at the moment, but fingers crossed there. Yeah, excited to see what new champions they start throwing out as the game sort of progresses. The whole Jamong and Rukan coming out was really cool. So again, this is going to be Drama, who we previously cast over in the first round, and they're going to be going against Sample Text. So it looks like we're going to be seeing Lucy. Like, Lucy just seems to be such a popular pick at the moment. Goddamn Lucy's. Where's all the older love at? So yeah, it looks like it's going to be double Lucy. Which is not a bad thing. Obviously makes things kind of even, I guess. It's going to be down to who the better Lucy is, but hoping for a bit of a mix. But it's all good. So we do see her. I believe that is actually her legendary weapon she is running. Fancy stuff. So it's going to be Jamong. Oh, interesting stuff. Run out the Jamong there. Should be pretty cool. Let's get rid of our fog of war. We want blood. We want to see everything. As we go in then, the blue side running the Ascot and Lucy once again, and they're going to be coming up against the Jamong and the red side Lucy. As both teams come into the middle arena, we're going to be trading panicky blows. Nice shield coming in the red side is going to keep Jamong nice and healthy. So I think Jamong is a really strong champion at the moment. I think he's a bit stronger than the Rukan, and is a good AD carry in his own sense. He's got a bit of a shorter range, especially compared to Astro, who has such a long range and a real strong poke. But the cool thing with Jamong here is we're actually going to see blue team take the orb. When he auto-attacks, he charges up 3 auto-attacks. You can see at the moment he has 3 hits. He can do his spacebar twice in quick succession, which is really nice. And the big combo for him is actually going there with his Q, which enters him into stealth. He can then actually in-cap someone. He can then chuck his bear trap down and do a real nice combo. As we actually see Ascar once again, as you remember from last time, he was getting his ultimate left, right and center, going in with Infernal Scorch. Not really making too much happen here. He actually probably took more on the backside than that was actually worth. Nice Petrify, but a good shield coming in by the blue side. Lucy is going to keep him healthy as Jamong's really putting some pain down. And like I said, we haven't actually seen him use his combo yet, and it hasn't been the need to, as his Dragon Slayer is loaded. Will we see an arrow to the knee? And that is the question. He wants to look careful. He's going to wait for the engage. He's actually going to make use of his rain of arrows here instead, which does apply a snare and some nice damage. A fireball coming in by Ascar is going to mean the blue side do pick up this middle orb this time around. As Ascar getting a bit aggressive on the bot side and using his second ultimate and comboed with the blue side Lucy ultimate. That's actually going to be some big damage and a turnaround right here. The red side were looking pretty healthy there, but GG. Nice combo coming in the blue team. And we are going to see Dragon Slayer not slaying any dragons today, unfortunately. The blue team should be finishing off as we are just about to enter sudden death. Will there be a need? Not today, as Ascar actually procs Infernal Scorch for the 3rd time. GG. Very nice play by the blue team. I thought that when Ascar actually went in for his ultimate, then he took a bit of too much of a pounding really. It was looking good for the red team, but Jamong decided to go for Rain of Arrows and actually his ultimate, which potentially, I think when Ascar engaged, then he could have went for it, but the thing with his ultimate's a 2-second charge. Oh, you can use it instantly, but to do double the damage, you do need to charge it up. But if you can knock it into a target or a wall, we'll apply that big stun. I think that would have been the better option then, and that could have really swung things. But it's going to be a close duel as we come into our round 2. Both teams charging into the middle orb. As we see Jamong putting some reasonable damage down on Lucy. She is going to bury herself at the red side, doing the same. A bit of copycat going on at the moment. Rain of Arrows isn't going to hit the target there, and that's going to be a bit of a waste of energy at this moment in time. With middle orbs spawning up, the red team probably looking in position to take this. Ascar is actually going to dive in, knocking it into his foes. Nice use of his firewall again, really well played, and that's actually going to be able to secure that for the blue team. And he's about 10% away from proccing his ultimate, and we'll see how he makes use out of this. Rain of Arrows once again missing, really wasting his energy here. But he is quickly building it back up as Ash goes in for Infernal Scorch onto the red side Lucy here, putting some nice damage down, but he's actually caught away from his teammate. Once again, his ultimate really seemed to cost him more than it was actually worth, but Lucy is going to be able to kind of heal him up back to half health, and he does pick up both energy orbs on the bottom side. We are going to see blue side Lucy pick up her ultimate as each team trading quite evenly here. Jamong does actually have proccing his charges on his spacebar, making a nice use of his Dragon Slayer. That is actually going to push Ascar out of the fight, but not really making too much happen here. We do actually see quite a few auto attacks missed, and that could actually prove quite fatal. As once again, another Infernal Scorch coming out of Ascar, and I think that will be a pickup from the blue team. A bit of an unnecessary ultimate from Lucy, but it would have secured the kill at least anyway, and it's not really going to cost them as they make a nice panic onto the red side, snaring into the wall, and she's got nowhere to run. GG. Really nice by the blue team once again. I really do feel like even though the blue team are kind of ruined in some sense convincingly at the moment, that the red team for sure can turn this around. Like, Jamong's ultimate onto Ascar wasn't bad, you know, he had a big stun, but then they just did nothing on the Lucy. Like, they missed 3 or 4 auto attacks, And it was quite enough damage to actually for Asgard to get back in the fray, big Infernal Scorch, and turn it around. GG. As we're just waiting on Jamong to pick up his final talent. Currently at the moment he's decided to go for the Precision, which deals the bonus damage with his Black Arrow, Panther, which increases the duration of his stealth, and also Black Arrow, which inflicts Bleed, which does actually give him some quite nice damage. He's actually decided not to go for the recast on the spacebar, which is quite interesting, I believe, unless I've read that wrong. It's his first tier talent he takes, and when he gets his free auto attacks up, he can actually reset his spacebar, which I don't think... I know, potentially he can, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I believe it's for his other ability, I really forget what I just said. As we see blue team looking in commander position, Asgard throws down a nice firewall, and that's once again allowed the blue team to pick up middle orb. Looking in commander position, Asgard's 50% away from his ultimate as he decided to use his X-Shift ability instead. Both teams trading evenly once again. And it really could go either way. I feel the red team start looking well, but then it just sort of dies off. Asgard kind of goes in, makes a nice use of his ultimate, as we do actually see his Infernal Scorch lined up once again. He does use it onto the red side. Lucy, who's dropped under 50% health now, whilst Jamong's trying to work on the blue side, not really making too much happen here. A nice firewall coming out, and that has once again allowed the blue team to pick up middle orb, with both of them pretty close to picking up their ultimates once again. Lucy is actually caught on the bottom side. Nice rain of arrows. This is going to snare Asgard in places. He's panicked away, but it doesn't really seem to be phasing him too much, as both members on the red side running pretty low here. Asgard with his ultimate up once again. A nice Infernal Scorch coming onto Jamong as he drops under 20% health, and is going to be snared in place. He does get a nice mark, but unable to get the auto attack to proc the in cap. He's going to make a run to the top lane, uses Rain Arrow on the mid lane, is actually going to pick that up, nicely done. A big Petrify coming onto Lucy as we see her taking a face full of fireballs. Feel the blue team looking pretty commanding at the moment, but this could go anywhere as red side Lucy ultimate does come out, but not really too much great use. A nice firewall is going to keep Asgard pretty healthy at the moment as he's starting to work onto her about 10 seconds before we enter sudden death. Red team running pretty low, the blue team are going to pull back and take it nice and easy, securing the middle orb. Asgard does actually have his third ultimate lined up. Let's see what he decides to make with his Infernal Scorch this time as we enter sudden death. There's no need for them to do anything crazy, they can play it safe. He's actually going to line up his Molten Fist and Infernal Scorch combo. Lucy really did not stand a chance there. Nicely done. As it looks like the blue team are going to be taking this round 3 pretty nicely. Even though they're not necessarily low, I feel that the battles are trading pretty evenly here. But the blue team are certainly starting to edge it a bit now. But we'll see. I just don't feel that Jamong's really making enough use out of his combo because he's taking such a pounding at the start. He's having to play a lot more defensively than I guess maybe he would like, and it's causing a bit of an issue here. But GG, well played by our blue side. We're going to be going to round 4, we're just waiting for the final talents to be picked up. As we now do actually see, so if you thought Asgard was popping his ultimate before pretty quickly, now the inspiration which gives him that bonus 10%, he's going to be getting his ultimates, well, 10% quicker I guess. As we coming into round 4 then, what can our teams throw? I feel the red team can start mounting a comeback, but they're going to have to play this a little bit smarter, and we'll see how it pans out. Asgard going on the aggression, but that wall's going to be blocking him out with about 6 seconds before the middle orb spawns up. Blue team do look in pretty good shape here. A nice Petrify to Molten Fist combo is going to allow them to land a little bit of poke, but Lucy able to heal for it at the moment as middle orb is up. A nice knockback coming out of the blue side Lucy, and the firewall is going to easily pick that up for our blue team, getting them that bonus energy and health, which isn't necessarily so needed at the moment. Jamong actually putting some big damage onto our blue side Lucy, but the problem here, he makes a nice hit, but he is actually caught on himself and is going to drop under 50% his health himself. Big Petrify coming onto the red side Lucy, along with the Molten Fist. That's actually going to stun her in place, and it's going to allow Asgard to once again land his Infernal Scorch, burning off some of Jamong's health as both teams once again trading quite easily. We do actually see Lucy on the top side use a Petrify, but you have Dragon Slayer up just to see how he does actually decide to use this, as he's running pretty low at the moment. He's actually going to be a bit careful. I think it's going to be better to actually see his ultimate come out than Rain of Arrows, but we'll see how this pays out with both the blue team looking pretty healthy. He does actually use the side to go for Rain Arrows. A big Petrify coming in. They're both able to actually avoid the incoming Molten Fist. This could potentially go for... I think the blue team did actually pick that up. Jamong was actually focusing on Asgard instead of picking up the actual orb then, which I think was a little bit of a mistake. as we see him building his energy up once again. For 30 seconds away from entering sudden death, his ultimate is probably, this is probably the best time to actually use it, as Asuka coming in with Infernal Scorch. He's deciding to stall to hold on to it as he's taking a big pound in. His ultimate is procced. He does actually get the stun here, and red side Lucy is coming, but once again, Asuka able to pick up enough energy, even after just using his ultimate, to chuck down that firewall and save his bacon. Nicely done. Unfortunately then, it was a nice play by Jamong in some sense, but Lucy just wasn't able to follow it up, and a good firewall as well towards the end of it kept Asuka healthy, and he's already back up to 100% health, and the red team really struggling as we actually enter sudden death, so they're going to have to start closing in if they want to make something happen now. Nicely done. It's looking pretty good for the situation for the blue side at the moment. Mid orb is up, but each team favouring to go for the damage at the moment. A Molten Fist and Infernal Scorch. Luckily for him, that wall was in the way, otherwise he'd have been chucked out of the arena and to start eating some of that death timer. And Jamong is going to be picked up here. He has no other option but to start running into the arena, but nice hits by the projectiles. That's actually going to throw him out as well. GG from the blue side, 4-0. Regarding the bracket, that does not unfortunately work. We haven't got that kind of technology just yet. I will get the bracket up when when this game finishes, boss. But you can check it out at PlayTourney.com. You'll be able to view the NA tournament. But I will, once this game ends, I will get it up for you guys. So the blue team looking pretty commanding. I think that they're probably going to take this in a 5-0 sweep. But we'll see. The red team still have a bit of fight left in them as we once again enter the mid arena, and big blows being traded by either side. A nice shield coming in by the blue side. Going to be able to keep Asuka nice and safe. We can actually see his in-cap coming out once again. A nice rain of arrows and trading some nice blows as he uses spacebar to actually juke out the incoming Molten Fist. Really nice, good use of his charge up ability then, as blue side once again picking up middle arm. Asuka in a little bit of trouble here. He is panicked away, but I feel Lucy's going to start healing up. We're actually going to see Jamong get his ultimate for the first time, actually ahead of Asuka. Asuka has been on pretty on point, being able to pick up that ultimate super quick, but this is looking like the red team are on pretty commanding at the moment, but we'll see what happens when he lines up this ultimate. Unfortunately, I think he might have wanted to actually press the cancel button there, and that was a bit of a mistake. He really should have saw that coming. That was, I feel, a bit poor on Jamong's part. He had plenty of time to cancel that. The fact that he has to charge his ultimate for 2 seconds, he could have cancelled it in enough time to avoid the Asuka's firewall. A nice ultimate coming in from the red side then, but Asuka is somehow still able to get away. It looks like he's actually going to float down to the bottom side and pick up both health walls as we see middle orb once again come up. And the blue team looking a bit punishing, but a nice Molten Fist, and Asuka is taking some rain of arrows to the kneecap. As the blue side Lucy taking on the red side, and a nice 1v1, a good use of his projectile firewall to project those incoming projectiles. As we see the blue team kind of turning this around. The red team did look pretty healthy then, but not being able to pick off Asuka with only 20 health then, I think it's really actually going to cost them here, unfortunately. That might be the end of the comeback, but we'll see how it plans out, as Asuka does actually pick up both halves, and the blue team once again picking up middle orb. Jamong's ultimate is up. If he can line up a nice Dragon Slayer, this could be pretty deadly for the red team. There's a nice Petrify into Asuka. That would probably be the best time to actually go for it, as he is 9 line up, and the blue side Lucy does hit her, but unfortunately with the distance she is able to survive it. Asuka once again popping his Infernal Scorch, putting some nice damage onto Jamong, using his X-Shift ability to get those 3 additional heals from the auto attacks. And the blue team looking pretty good as we actually enter sudden death now. A nice Molten Fist onto the red side Lucy. She is going to be able to use her roll to pick up both energy orbs, but really she needs help at this moment in time, as we see another great use of his firewall to reject those incoming arrows. Molten Fist isn't going to hit his target this time, as he actually dashes onto the bot side. The arena's closing in, and I think that the blue team have too much HP ready for the red team to try and turn this around. A nice barrier is going to avoid that income damage. The blue team once again pick up the orb. A good panic from the Lucy onto the other Lucy to knock her out the arena. GG. Really well played by our blue side then. That was very nice. So I will get the brackets up for you now, bosses. But again, you can check PlayTourney.com. I will get them up for you guys now. But yeah, really nicely done by the blue team then. They were very commanding. I think the red team could have, it was unfortunate, it was 5-0 and it was kind of a whitewash, but the red team did look pretty strong. But Jamong just, I don't really think, made enough happen with his combo there. And yeah, they got punished. Asuka was on point. He was hitting like 3 ultimates per round. That Infernal Scorch was really putting some big damage down, as you can see. Well, Lucy did top the score, but I didn't really. That was more for her disables and protection. There was a damage coming out of Asuka on average. It was crazy there. Big damage. Really nicely done. And congrats to Drama. So they were the previous team that we did actually cast over in the first round, with the Asuka and Lucy doing very well in that as well, as they move into the next round. So GG to them. I will get the brackets up for you bosses now. So the game we did just cast over there was Drama versus World Peace. So Drama once again dominated the scene. Ascar was on point. Lucy was protecting his bacon multiple times. The fact that Ascar was able to actually survive in that final round then was insane, and great use of his firewall was very impressive. In previous Ascars we've seen making great use of the Petrify combo from his Q, but this time Ascar was really on point with his firewall, being able to secure middle orb multiple times and also proccing his ult for, I think, like every round he was getting at least 3 ultimates off, which was devastating. They just couldn't deal with it. So we're going to be moving on to our semi-finals next. And this will now be, instead of, we still will have the first of 5 rounds, but it will now be a best of 3. So the team that wins the first one, if they win the next one, they will be moving on to the final, again with a best of 3. And with the finalists, both finalists, will be moving on to the Ultimate Tournament on November the 11th, which will have all winners and runners-up from Q1 to Q4 taking place at $250. Should be great fun. But yeah, we should be a couple minutes, bosses. We're just waiting for the final games to wrap up. Again with a 5-0, it was over pretty damn quickly. I know that feeling all too well. So GG to Drama. Both games we've watched them, they've been very on point, and we'll see if they can keep it up moving on to the semis. I will keep you guys posted on when we are going to get the timing for casting the next game. My apologies, bosses. I was completely wrong on what I was saying. I was reading the brackets wrong then. Actually, we still have one more round before the semi-finals. I think after casting this tournament for 4 times now, I'd actually know when the semis was. Every time I look at it, I get so confused. It's my bad. So it's actually going to be the quarterfinals next, which will still be a best of 1, first of 5, and then we'll be moving on to the semis, which is a best of 3. So ignore everything I said before. So we're just waiting on one final game to wrap up, and then we'll be able to move on to the quarters. So for any of you bosses that are joining at the moment, we are currently moving on to our quarterfinals. Be the next game that we're casting over, which is a best of one with 5 rounds. First team to 5 wins, and then be moving on to the semis, which will be a best of 3. We're just currently waiting on the last team to finish off, as the previous game we cast over by drama the sample text was over pretty damn quick. Okay, they're just sorting out the lobby now, bosses, and we'll be underway very shortly. Alright, bosses, we'll be underway in under a minute. So it's going to be our quarterfinals, still a best of 1, first to 5. Alrighty, here we are then, bosses. It's going to be our quarterfinal, first quarterfinal game of our NA tournament tonight. We'll see what these guys can play out to us. As we're currently going to be seeing maybe some Shifu and Bako, which is quite an interesting combo. I'm liking the look of this. This looks a bit feisty. And some Jamon and Older, very nice. This could be pretty damn interesting. It's hard to see people mixing up, that's what we like to see. Big hype. Very nice, good stuff. So we're going to see 2 melee, so they're going to have to be pretty damn aggressive here, because if they get kited out, they're just going to get real poked down and out-healed, so we'll see how this actually pans out. So it's going to be a walk in the park versus I Love Skulky for our first NA quarterfinals of tonight. The winners will be moving on to the semis, which then will become a best of 3. See how this pans out. So earlier we saw some real nice Shifu play coming out of the EU tournament, making great use of his javelin toss and conjure ability. And we'll see how this pans out as the blue team are looking to get real aggressive at the moment in time, and it's really their only option to play this one out as they get a nice charge onto Holder on the wall as he drops under 50% health, but he's going to start healing himself up with sand. The logic, I love it. As we see Jamong actually putting some nice damage on here, and this is the problem now for the blue team. If they don't really make anything happen, they're just going to get out-healed, and health orbs on the bottom side aren't going to be able to heal them up enough through this. As Shifu really going on his own. I'm not too sure what back here. There's a bit of miscommunication here as Shifu was constantly on. He was on his own for about 10 seconds. They do pick up middle orb, which was nice, but Shifu takes a lot of unnecessary damage where if they went together it could have been a lot different. We do see him actually waste his conjure ability, and now he's quite vulnerable. A nice ultimate coming in along with Valiant Leap, but a great use of Sands of Time to pull Jamong out of danger, landing a big stun onto Bako, using his Rain of Arrows as well to land that snare. Nice in cap, and GG. Very well played by the red team. I think the blue team could have played that a lot better. They're going to have to be they're going to have to work a bit harder as a team, really. Like, the start was okay, you know, not bad, and they pulled in and they did actually secure middle orb, but for like 6-7 seconds then Bako was just kind of floating around on the bot side, picking up the energy orbs and health orbs, which weren't really like needed. It's fair enough you both back out, but Shifu was completely on his own. Did actually survive and didn't take too much damage, but if they were both in, you know, it could have played out a lot differently. We do see him actually running the Razor mount. If you have a Razor keyboard or Razor product, you can actually pick up that mount yourself and run around the green star. As you see the blue team putting off some nice damage onto Older at the moment as he drops under 50% health. A good use of Rain arrows from Jamong is actually going to trade quite well into Shifu here. And once again, the blue team are in a situation where how is Shifu really going to get through this? Sure, his X-Shift ability can actually make a nice use of heal, but with a 10-second cooldown on that, he isn't going to be able to heal up enough really. He does make good use of his conjure ability, and this is the only way this is going to play out as Baku does use his Valiant Leap. A nice ultimate coming in by Shifu is going to put some big damage on Jamong. A good use of his Javelin Toss to close the distance there. Does actually fail on his incoming spear. A great use of his Javelin Toss once again using that second charge there. A nice stun coming in place as we see the blue team looking pretty commanding at the moment. They really need to try and finish off them as they actually can pick up both health orbs. And once again, Shifu is sticking on his target and has landed every Javelin Toss so far. Nice heroic charge, does pick up Older. And I really feel Jamong's going to struggle to turn this one around. Good job by the blue side. That's what they need to do. They played it well. They kept them split. And it's GG. Finish him off. I want to see the pickaxe go straight for his heart. Red team. Blue team do secure the middle orb once again. We are in sudden death now, so it's only a matter of time before this one is over. GG. Well played by the blue side. Oh, I see. It was limited. Oh, that kind of sucks. My apologies. Take everything I said back. I didn't realize it was limited time. Oh, that kind of sucks, eh? You had to be quick. I've been telling everyone to get it. So I'd actually missed out on myself. I've been telling everyone else to get it, and I didn't actually get it in time. Oh, that sucks. Cheers for the heads up, though, bro. Oh, that's a bit of a bummer. Not to worry. So well played by the blue team to turn that around. I feel if they can make good use of their counters, then they can certainly pull this one off. Especially if they can split the red team apart. That was really nicely done. As Older's not going to be able to heal up Jamong, and Shifu's really going to probably out-damage Jamong in the situation, especially if he can make some good use of his Kunju. As we see, once again, Older losing about 20% health here, but during this case, Shifu is running pretty low at the moment. This is why the red team really need to stick together, poke each other around, make good use of the counter coming from Older. With the use of Rain of Arrows also to snare their opponents. A good Kunju is going to fling in behind and pick up both orbs as the blue team rotate to pick up the middle orb once again. It's going to put them pretty close to getting the ultimates in this round. And we'll see how this pans out now as Older is trying to heal up his pal. Jamong is actually back to full health. As we see another good use of the conjure ability, which actually can allow him to rotate onto his teammate. Good use of his spin to win, and a nice Sand of Time ultimate coming out of Older is only going to delay things as Baku actually dropping under 15% health at this moment in time. Blue team do once again secure this middle orb. Shifu keeping up the aggression. Nice in cap is actually going to allow him to work onto Older, who's currently cut away from his teammate. Baku running pretty low. A nice in cap coming. It looks like Jamong actually may be able to pick up his teammate. A nice heroic charge. Does miss it. Wow. Wow, duped by Older then. That was big, and that could actually be the red team picking this one up now. A big in cap, a nice secure by the blue side once again, as Shifu once again looking to punish the Older here, but Baku is actually dropping the bottom side. And he isn't really going to be able to deal with that. Unfortunately for him, as much as he can clutch onto walls, he can't fly through walls. It feels bad. It started off well for the blue side, but yeah, good job by the red team. They were able to kite them nicely and played this one out really well, as he does actually waste his Kunju. Sudden death is upon us. Does actually secure middle orb for himself, but Dragon Slayer did slay a dragon today. GG. Well played by the red team.
The strings have been reknit.
As we're going to see each team picking up their 4th round Battlerites. Inspiration being picked up by both the blue teams, so that should really actually help them get that ultimate a bit quicker. Plus with them dominating the middle arena at the moment, should be interesting to see how that pans out, as Shifu pops his Kunju way too early here, and is actually going to leave him a bit vulnerable. As a nice in cap coming, he does actually a little bit late on his bear trap then. Doesn't get the combo off successfully, but a nice petrify coming from Older, and I think at the moment Shifu is just taking way too much damage. This already pans down to him wasting his Conjure at the start and just got punished for it. We see him do pick up middle, which is going to give him a little bit of bonus help this time, being as he starts rotating to the top side using his javelin to close that gap. We do see Older trying his best to survive on this bottom side, as his teammates kind of looking to focus off Shifu. Nice javelin toss is going to put some nice down. Heroic charge, big ultimate, and well played. This should really be a nice pickup from the blue team. But a good rain of arrows is actually going to snap both blue team members here, as he does use his in cap on the bottom side Shifu at this moment of time, and using his range to his advantage. They're both double stacked, and this really could be an issue. You're going to have to be careful for the incoming counters, as blue team do once again pick up that middle orb. He does waste his rain of arrows this time, making good use of his stealth to avoid the incoming damage. But unfortunately, I think wasting that rain of arrows then is going to really cost him, and losing out on the middle orb was enough to make the blue team look pretty healthy as we enter sudden death once again. He is going to avoid the incoming counter, but popping his staff a bit too soon. Unfortunately, I think if he played it a little bit smarter towards the start, sort of 5 seconds earlier, it could have been a different story, but you made that one mistake, especially in a 2v1 situation like that, it all comes crashing down around you. But nice attempt, as we see the blue team take it to 2 apiece. And that's why I talked about earlier, we saw how quickly they were able to pick up their ultimates up, with both of them taking the 4th Battlerite. And we'll see how this pans out. And this really is anyone's game. So again, this is a best of 1, first to 5, so whoever wins this will be moving on to the semis, where it will be then become a best of 3. As both teams trading quite evenly at the moment. Some nice damage coming out on the blue side onto the Older, but he is able to heal through this currently at the moment in time. Middle orb is going to come up. This is going to be pretty important for the blue team, because once again with that inspiration, they do actually lose out to the red side this time. A nice charge coming in, and a stun combo is going to leave Jamong in a bit of danger, but once again he's able to retreat to the top side, making good use of his stealth ability to rotate, but with his cooldowns down at the moment he's taking a bit of a nice big damage. Sands of Time is actually going to be able to pull him away from the incoming danger, only to land back on top of the both bows, as he's taken a bit of a pain train from the incoming Shifu. Nice charge coming out of Baku, but he is actually split from his teammates in the matter. I real feel Jamong should have pulled back, and actually I feel if they were able to take him out, they would have been a lot better for them, but instead he stayed topside trying to take out Shifu, and it's not worked too well for him. But a nice rain of arrows onto Baku. This could be a big turnaround. Does actually pick up both health orbs as Shifu is working onto the red side. GG uses in cap to actually finish that off, and it's going to leave them Older in a 2v1, they should be able to pick up middle nicely. Does actually get stolen away. Well played by Older, which is actually going to proc his ultimate. We'll see how this pans out with Baku being quite low there. This could really be a big turnaround. A nice in-cap into the Valiant Elite. He is going to use his the first time to not much effect. GG. Well played. Really nice stuff. So the blue team are taking a commanding lead at the moment in time. Currently 3-2 up, potentially still a few more rounds left in this one. So we really need to see the red team play a little bit more safer, try and use their counter abilities, kite around them, and also stay away from the walls. As we see, Bako doesn't really make much happen there if he's not be able to close in that gap, which was nicely done, but they're still taking some big damage from the Shifu as Dramong dropping under 50% health here. Nice petrify onto Bako is going to slow the pace of the things down at this moment in time, with the blue team once again securing this middle orb. With a nice Kundry, does actually throw him to the bottom side, does actually miss his Javelin Toss and incoming Spear. As you see Older in all kinds of trouble. A great use of his Kundry once again, getting behind him, and with the incoming, with the charged up Spear, he does turn that around. A nice heroic charge. Somehow Older does actually escape, only to get Valiant leaped upon. It looks like the blue team are going to be taking this 4-2. Nicely done. It was great use of the incoming damage. Shifu pretty much landed every Kundry counter then, and also landed some nice Javelin Toss to turn around. The problem here really is if he actually does land those abilities and gets those counters to bring him behind this opponent like he does then, he closes that gap. He can use his charged up Spear, which does some insane damage, especially if he has all 3 stacks on it, and it was too much for him to handle. GG. Still can be turned around though. Never say never. The blue team have already done it twice today, but it's already down to the case, I feel, of the blue team going a little bit too ham. If they play it right, they should really be. They certainly have the damage to play it, as we once again we do actually see Shifu's Kundry pop, but does actually miss the follow-up Javelin tosses. Bako pushing the red side Older out of trouble. With the middle orb coming up, a nice in-cap is going to slow things down. A nice shield coming out of Bako is going to keep his friendly ally alive for the time being, as we see each team trading blow for blow. A nice pickup from the blue side on middle orb is going to allow them to get their ultimates a little bit quicker. A nice Valiant Leap is going to put some big damage onto Dramong, as Older is in a bit of a problem right now. As we see a great stun coming out of Baku. He is going to actually use his reverse time to come back into the middle arena, but it's only really delaying things at the moment. A bit of split focus. Baku is actually going to be able to slow them on the top side, as Shifu does pick up his ultimate, does waste his Kundry ability, but this is going to be something big for Dramong the first round, as he does actually use his staff to avoid the incoming damage from that spin to win. A nice in-cap. We have entered sudden death, so the blue team can play this nice and cool if they really want to, but I feel with this amount of health they're going to be looking for the kill. Middle orb is going to be up in about 4 seconds. We see some nice dashes coming out of Dramong, but he's only really delaying time. Does actually make nice use of his stealth ability, only for Bako to time it really well with his heroic charge and dash. Unfortunately there wasn't a wall to knock him into, but it has dropped him under 10% health with nowhere to run. Somehow still alive. Oh. Still gonna make it? Cheeky. Very done. Nicely done by the blue team. It was well played. A 5-2 victory. So that was our quarterfinal. I will bring up the brackets for you bosses now. It'll probably be a couple minutes before we actually jump into the next one. But yeah, very well played. It was great use. Nice to see a bit of a different comp. You know, we didn't have the ranger there, or we didn't even have a support. They just went for the straight out damage, which once they got on top of their opponent, it just worked really well. And it worked nicely as well, where they were splitting them, where Bako was going for Older, and Dramong was getting forced away by Shifu. They just couldn't get the heals out there, and they were putting out too much damage. So GG. Like I say, it'll probably be a couple minutes before the next game, and I'll get the brackets up for you bosses now. So this will be our semi-finals next up. It looks like, once again, Drama, who we commentated over in the first two games, have actually made it through, and they'll be going to face enough against Team 1. Whilst I Hate Skulky, who was the team we just cast over then, with the Shifu and Bako, are going to be coming up against World Peace. We're just going to have to wait for the lobbies to be created, and I'll let you know what the situation is. We shouldn't be too much longer before we actually jump into the first semis, which will be a best of 3 bosses. So it looks like the next game we're going to be casting over will be both ranked 14 teams, as lobbies getting created right now.
I ain't got no money for living. I ain't forgiving of what you've done. I ain't got no reason for thinking. I'm just doing what I've always done.
Unfortunately, my game kind of bugged out. We're just going to reboot it up again, and we'll be able to get into the semis bosses.
I'm gonna shoot you until you're resting in the doorway. Gonna knock you out. We're gonna knock you out.
Whilst we wait for the lobby to be set up, we're going to be casting over once again Drama, who was the deadly Ascar we saw from earlier, who was getting ultimates left, right and centre, and making very good use of his firewall as well. And they're going to be facing up against Team 1, who are both rank 14, so we should have quite an interesting game on our hand this one. It will be a best of 3, 5 rounds in each one. Just waiting for the final team to connect, and we'll be underway very shortly. Bosses have just got to decide what map they want to go on, and we'll be able to jump into our semi-final. Alrighty then, bosses, so we are going to be getting underway for our semi-finals. Big hype. Once again, we're going to be seeing the Ascar and Lucy from earlier. That is Team Drama, our blue team, and they're going to be facing up against Team 1 on the red side, who are going to be running Jamong and Older. So the best of 3. So there's potentially 3 games to be had. And so we see Jamong sporting the very rare invisible unicorn mount. We get things underway. Both teams trading blows. For once we don't actually have any mirror matchups, which is nice to see. We've seen a fair few Lucy's versus Lucy's, and we'll see how Older deals with her this time around. If she does get a nice panic off, and looks like blue team should be able to easily pick up middle orb. Once again using the trademark firewall to project any incoming projectiles. Really nicely done by Askar, as he's about 10% away from getting his Infernal Scorch up once again. The team's trading quite nicely. It's pretty even at this moment in time. He does actually land a nice Molten Fire onto Jamong as he drops about 40% in that trade there. Middle orb is up once again. Great use of his firewall and projectile to knock the orb back. We're going to see Infernal Scorch come in. It's going to put some nice damage onto Older, but not really too much coming out of that. Deadly Infection dropping onto Jamong from the blue side, Lucy. And it's getting pretty hectic at the moment. Older does actually hold his ultimate, as we see his team trading blow for blow, using Rain of Arrows instead of going for the Dragon Slayer. Nice Petrify coming out of Lucy, and great use of his incoming firewall to protect him from Jamong. A nice long range arrow is actually going to trade blow for blow as the red team actually pick up their first orb this round. Askar is actually going to be able to dash to the top side and pick up both health orbs then, which is going to be nice for him, with middle orb going to be about 6 seconds for spawners, with 30 seconds away from sudden death. It got pretty damn hectic then as the pace has slowed down a little bit, but a nice Petrify coming in as we see each team trading blow for blow. Unfortunately his firewall was a bit on the outside then, and that's actually going to allow the red team to pick up their second orb, drawn to the piece at the moment, and their ultimate's ready. We'll see how this pans out. We have seen Jamong favour his Rain of Arrows instead the Dragon Slayer, but with both dashes down he may decide to go for it, and that is a big hit into the wall there, but unfortunately he isn't able to actually finish him off, as Askar does use an Infernal Scorch to get some nice damage onto Older and also escape the incoming danger, as Lucy's starting to heal him on this top side as we enter sudden death. Pretty close battle at the moment in time. It's been very back and forth. The red team seem to favour as they've actually got the mid lane control, with the arena closing in on them now. Nice projectile coming in. It's going to be a nice blow onto Jamong. I feel they should be able to pick up the middle orb. Nice blows coming on and big trades. Askar is getting aggressive. He has no other option with the arena. Not much left right now. Nice ultimate coming in from Older, but with only 10% health, he is actually going to still survive. Good use of his Time Bender and Spacebar ability to float to the top side behind his Jamong and somehow survive that. And great use of his Dragon Slayer ultimate to pin Lucy into the wall. He is actually going to get panicked away, but it isn't going to matter this time. GG. Very nice. This is semi-final, bosses. This is the first game of the semi-finals. The best of 3, so potentially we could actually have 3 games. It's going to be a first team to 5. Very nice. That was a big turnaround. I didn't think that was going to pan out how that did in the end. GG. As we see Older sporting the magical unicorn as well, as both teams enter the mid-arena once again for our second round of tonight's semi-final. As they trade blow for blow, not really too much going on at this moment in time, as they're really, I think our first big fight is going to be when this orb spawns up. Once again, Askar does actually have enough energy to chuck his firewall down, and with the red team caught on the bot side like that, it's going to be an easy pickup and a waste of Rain of Arrows coming up from Jamong. As we Askar, they're all spawning these unicorns. It's magical stuff. As we see each team trading blow for blow. Mid orb's going to be back up in about 5 seconds. Askar again a bit aggressive here. It looked like he was actually going for the any orb and missing out, but does pick up both of them this time around and landing all 3 hits with his projectile then. Nice use of his firewall once again to secure the middle orb, as he's about 5% away from proccing his ultimate. A nice Petrify coming onto Older, comboed with the Molten Fist. Is going to leave a bit of damage. He doesn't actually make too much happen with his Infernal Scorch this time around though, as red team looking pretty good for themselves with their ultimates just about to be up. A good panic wait from Older onto Lucy, as we see the red team looking to probably take this middle orb for the first time. Jamong decides to use his Dragon Slayer to actually go for the orb. I think he was trying to do a double whammy, but actually really got nowhere with it. He does actually pick up the orb for himself, but I think that was a bit of a waste, and certainly a bit more could have happened on that. Alder's ult is up, as we see each team trading pretty even at this point in time. A nice rain of arrows onto Asker is actually going to drop him under 50% health, as he actually is split away from Lucy, but a good petrify. But once again, we see Alder's ultimate up and waiting, as he's been deciding to use his petrifies instead at this point. Nice firewall is actually going to be able to keep Asker away from danger, as we're 10 seconds away from entering sudden death. I feel the blue team aren't really putting too much damage out at the moment, as Jamong's getting a little bit aggressive. He is split from his teammate, and Asker's going to be able to get behind him and put some nice damage down here. As we do see a big ultimate, unfortunately there where Asker actually hits his teammate, it does cause him to get stunned, but it was only a brief one as it wasn't fully charged. A nice Infernal Scorch is going to burn out Alder, but unfortunately for him, with over 50% health, I really feel the blue team are going to struggle to turn this around, and the red team should be taking this to 2-0 at this point. Sudden death is closing in on us. Alder is actually caught from the top side. Nice barrier coming in from Lucy, and Panic is actually going to push him out, as Asker does drop to Jamong on the bottom side there. Lucy's ult is up and way in, and she chucks it in, but I really feel it's going to be not too much effect this time around. Well played by the red team as they take this 2-0. GG. Really close battle. The battle's very back and forth at the moment, but the red team certainly did a lot more damage that round. Asker, I felt, didn't put off enough from what we've seen him do in the previous rounds. Both teams currently in this semi-final right now. They're both ranked 14, so they are pretty high-level players. So yeah, they're pretty solid, these ones at the moment, as we've seen the blue team performing pretty well through the tournament so far. It's the first time we've actually checked out the red side. As each team trading below for blood at the moment, the blue team looking a bit more commanding, as Asker once again has enough energy to chuck down his firewall with the middle orb coming up. See how this pans out. Does actually block Jamon out of trouble, but Alder does pick it up for himself this time. Very nice. Unfortunately for the blue team, Alder made some nice position and manages to actually pick up the orb then. It was very well played. We see Jamon getting a bit aggressive using his cloak to try and actually get the Seeker's Mark. He doesn't actually proc the in cap there, which is a bit unfortunate. That's where he's really going to get his big combos to go in there, get the in cap, and then also chuck down his bear trap. Plus, depending on what talents he takes, he can get the additional damage from projectiles. We do see his ultimate ready. He's keeping hold of it. He doesn't want to waste it just yet, as Infernal Scorch is going to come out onto Alder, but not really making too much happen, as Jamon completely whiffs his ultimate. He held onto it for so long. I'm not really sure where he thought he was going with it. That could actually really cost him now. Luckily for him, Asker didn't actually make too much happen with his ultimate this time around, as we see Alder use Sands of Time to unleash Jamon on top of Asker. GG. And the red team looking pretty commanding at the moment. We saw Asker dominating in the previous rounds, but this time around his ultimate just really hasn't done too much, as Lucy does unleash her goo. And once again, that's the second whipped ultimate, but luckily for him, it isn't going to matter. We'll just pretend he wanted to miss it. No one saw that. Nice petrify coming by Alder. We have Ennis sudden death, so Lucy really doesn't have time on her side, like Mr. Longneck. GG. Very nicely played. Really nice. So that's currently 3-0 in our first game of the best of 3 semi-finals tonight. I really feel Asker, like, we've cast over 2 of his games so far, and I think he's doing okay, but he's just not really putting out the damage at all at the moment. Jamon's really hitting hard, even though I feel that he's not making the most out of his combo. Both teams in our semi-final are ranked 14 at this point in time. As we see, once again, coming into round 4, the red team looking pretty commanding. A nice panic away on Alder is actually going to lead Jamon to pick a few hits, but it's not really going to trouble him as many times. He does get a nice rain of arrows dashed away by the blue side. Asker, once again, mid Alder's up. He does use Firewall, which is only going to keep Alder out of the way, as we do see Jamon trying to make use of it, but good knock back by Lucy is going to allow the blue team to pick up the first orb this round. As we see Jamon making great use of his spacebar to use that mobility some real nice damage down Asuka. He does actually pick both health orbs on the top side, and with Lucy healing him up, he's kind of back up to full health. And Rain of Arrows is going to miss this time as Older unleashing Sands of Time and not really making too much happen with this one. As the orb really could go to either team. The blue team do pick it up, and with a nice big combo, this is what we've been waiting to see as Lucy and Asuka make a wombo combo with the Infernal Scourge and Goo, and that's going to leave Jamong in a 2v1, and I think he's really going to struggle to turn this one around. He does actually land a nice ultimate onto Asuka, but it's only really delaying things as he's able to get in and finish him off with a fireball. Really nice, GG. That was very nice. That was what we've been seeing, that's what we've been waiting to see, and that was what actually got the blue team into the semi-finals in the first place, was that deadly combo. It was really nice, the stun, and unfortunately for Older, he isn't going to be able to react quick enough to that once he gets stunned, and he's going to eat a good amount of poison, even if he is able to actually dash out of it. GG. 3-1. Do we have a comeback on our hands? So again, this is a best of 3, so no matter what happens, we at least have one, or potentially 2 more games. Or 1, depending on how things plan out. As we see the blue team taking command of the mid lane once again, we're going to see mid orb coming up in about 6 seconds. Asuka's been on pretty point and making sure he secures those with good use of his firewall, as we see each team trading pretty evenly at this moment in time. Does actually chuck down his firewall once again, and it does actually get picked up by the red side. The Rain of Arrows, the last shot, the last bit of arrow coming down then was very nice by Jamong. GG. Good start for the red team, as they're about 10% away from getting our ultimate, so we do see Jamong already using his dagger. He was a bit missed a few already previously, so we'll see what he can actually make happen this time around. As he does go a bit too hasty with it once again and waste his ultimate there, and that really could cost him, and this is what the blue team need to get in this, as they're making some nice damage. A big panic coming out from Lucy is going to allow the blue team to put some big pounding, and once again we're going to see the Infernal Scorch coming out, but a well-timed ultimate by Older is actually going to be able to duke out of that, and Jamong is able to easily dash out of it. GG. I think that really could hurt them, even with Jamong missing his ultimate there. That was the combo that he needed, which wrecked the previous round. But with that down, it's going to be a lot for the blue team to turn us around, as we see a nice Rain of Arrows coming in, making use of his double dash there to get onto Asuka. A great firewall is actually going to delay things, and he's able to retreat to the bottom side as Lucy starts to try and heal our ally up. Mid orb is once again going to be spawning. It looks like the red team have commanding control of this middle area at this moment in time. A nice Molten Fist is unfortunate, it's not going to pick it up this time. It was a little bit late on that one. As we see Jamong starting to work. He needs one more charge to be able to get that double dash, and I think once that's up, we're going to see Asuka probably dropping here. His ultimate is up and ready, but the last 3 have been misses, so will that be getting into the back of his head now, as he once again lines it up. Does actually cancel the incoming Infernal Scorch, and a nice dash out by Older is actually going to waste this time around, but Asuka using his extra ability to put some nice damage down onto Jamong, as we see Older trying to turn this 2v1 around. I think this looks like we're going to be going to 3-2 at the moment. Well played. Unfortunately, Jamong did actually cancel Asuka's ultimate there, but where it was only the second charge, which he didn't really have much other option to it, he just didn't do enough damage, and Asuka was able to get off that Infernal Scorch, and looks like he's going to help his team out. The Older does use Sands of Time to not much prevail. GG. 3-2. The comeback begins. It was really well played. It was unfortunate on Jamong's part. He didn't really have much other option to use his ultimate. It was a good cancel, but the one thing with this game, which I'm not sure how I feel, is that when you do actually cancel an ultimate, if you cancel it mid-cast, within about a second or 2, you can recast it again. I feel like maybe he should lose like at least half his energy or something. Maybe not lose 100% energy, but I feel if you've actually been able to cancel his ultimate, they should be punished for that. But as you see, the red team starting to make some nice ground here, and once for the first time we've actually seen the blue team being pushed out, as Asuka actually uses firewall defense team instead of using it aggressively to secure that orb, which really could go either way. A nice blow coming out of Jamong is going to make sure the red team pick this up, as he already has his ultimate lined up. Let's see what he makes this happen this time, as once again a bit too hasty there really, as his 2 missed ultimates the last round did actually cost them. Mid orb is up once again. The red team looking okay, but these missed ultimates are really starting to hurt them, as the blue team are making their comeback. Asuka getting a bit aggressive thanks to his shield from that dash. He is able to avoid the incoming damage. Older using Sands of Time to get onto the enemy Lucy and dropping it under 50% health as Jamong putting some nice damage back, but with a nice panic is going to be able to get some distance here as Alder's left on the bottom side. A good use of his dash, but a nice counterblade coming in by Ascar with Infernal Scorch. Looks like the blue team will be taking this, and the turnaround really begins. Jamong's really going to struggle to turn this one around now. Nice barrier coming in by Lucy, is going to keep her teammate nice and safe. Does finally land an ultimate, but unfortunately, that's not the one he needed to land. He tried. He got it at the end. He got it end. Big hype for the next round. GG. 3 apiece. The comeback. But yeah, I feel that Jamong really has been way too hasty with his ultimates and needs just to hold on to it. There's no need for him to just kind of bring it out like there and just hope for the best. It's not doing him or his teammate any favours here. As we see, all 4 members actually sporting the invisible unicorn. I like it. As the blue team taking a little bit of a pounding here, nice Q coming in by Jamong is going to avoid the incoming damage. Uses raining arrows, but a good dash away is going to keep Ascar safer now with making good use of his firewall, and they are going to be able to pick up middle orb this time. Really could go either way as we're drawing 3 apiece at the moment. Still in our first game of the series. Potentially 2 more to go between these teams. It'll be interesting to see if either ones do switch it up after the end result of this one. As we see Jamong making use of his rain of arrows this time. I think he maybe he's a little bit panicked with how his ultimates have gone, but a nice ultimate coming in by Alder, comboed with Dragon Slayer, is actually going to be able to pick up Lucy. That was a great use of both ultimates coming out of the red team there, and that was the combo we've been looking for. There was no way he could miss that one with the stun coming out of Sands of Time, and he was guaranteed to land it. And with Lucy already as low as she was, it was GG. 4-3. Good job to the red team. Very nice combo. That was really big. Certainly got a game on our hand.
A glorious hunt, a worthy prey.
As we potentially still have another 2 rounds to go, we'll see what happens. The red team, pretty commanding performance in that round, but it's really going to come down to who can get the better poke off at the start of things. But the blue team looking pretty good. Ascar does have to use his projectile wall a little bit earlier than he wants to, as he's already under 40% health here. Some real big damage coming down out of Jamong, but traded evenly by the looks of things as the red team do pick up the orb for themselves this time around. Jamong sneaking around the backside. He's going to pick up both health orbs and get some nice damage with the rain of arrows onto Ascar. He's going to be able to dash away and pick up the health orbs himself on the top side. As each team trading pretty evenly at the moment. Jamong getting a little bit aggressive, making nice use out of his double dash, but a great projectile wall is going to block that incoming damage. And some Infernal Scorch being completely wasted there by Ascar, and that could be the nail in the coffin for this game. Do see a bit of a wasted charged up shot out of Jamong. Isn't really going to cost him. His ultimate is up, a nice in cap. Can he follow it up with his Dragon Slayer? We'll see how this pans out, as this is really lined up. Nicely done into the wall. GG. I think Lucy's going to have her work cut out for her to turn this one around. Really nice time. That was great use of his ultimates. The difference of landing an ultimate, that's all I can say really. Jamong picking it up towards the end, and it was GG. We do see the red team picking up middle orb. Sudden death is closing in. It's only a matter of time before Lucy does actually get dropped here. As we see the red team push her out of the arena. She's got nowhere to go. Nice rain arrows is going to snare her in place as she's going to get caught on the backside here. Does actually chuck out her goo, but not enough. GG. What a fun game. That was a nice comeback we had on our hands. It was very evenly from both ranked 14 teams there. Real backwards and forwards. So we still have another game to go. Potentially another. We'll see how it goes. We're just going to let the wait for them to build up lobbies, choose what map, and we'll be able to get underway with the second game of the semi-finals, bosses. what a back and forth semi-final first round that was. So potentially another 2 games to go. We see how it went. It was really close. Well played by both teams, using their advantages, and Askar put some nasty damage down at the end, but Jamong and Older were looking pretty strong. It'd be interesting to see if either team do actually switch this up going into our next round. As it's looking potentially Freya and Lucy coming up against Jamong and Older. No need to change a good thing, eh? See what these guys can do into our game 2. So Team 1 did pick up our first game with Drama, who've been pretty dominating from the games we watched. Weren't able to really pick up the damage. Askar's ults weren't on point. We did see the one round where they had the nice combo with Lucy. Other than that, it just didn't really come out. The Jamong and Older worked really well, and we'll see how that plays out coming into Q2. Here we go. We obviously do have the change up with Freya this time, which should be quite interesting. I'm a big fan of Freya. I think she's a really strong champion with her whole counterplay. She has multiple leaps which can avoid incoming projectiles, and we'll see how that starts to pan out. She does actually miss her charge then. As we see middle orb up once again. She does actually, second time she's missed a thunderclap there, and it's actually a real big move. Depending on what talent she takes, she does actually pull in enemies to her, and is a big part of her kit. Does some real nice damage. As we see Jamong getting dropped quite low here. This is nice start from the blue team, as they did actually pick up middle orb. Older again, some nice damage on the backside, and does have his ult up already. As we see him dropping down on Lucy, I think maybe potentially it'd been better for him to actually been dropped down on Freya's, with Lucy being 100%. Freya only 50, that could have been a big turnaround. A nice Q is actually going to be able to avoid out the incoming goo and not take any damage from that poison. But GG, very nice turnaround by the blue side. I really feel that had Older decided to have dropped Jamong onto Freya, that would have been the smarter choice. Then Lucy just had way too much health. They would have been focusing down hers, trying their best, as stunning Lucy allowed Freya to actually reposition herself and get in there and land some big damage. We see her use her Thunderstop to take first round. GG, the comeback. So that's going to be our first round taken by Drama. Potentially be going to a third game. We'll see how things go. Yeah, I think if they'd have stuck on Freya, then that would have been the smarter choice. Hey, everything's easier in hindsight. It's easy for me to say that, but had they stunned her, she'd have been locked down. They'd have probably done another like 20-30% damage to her, and I don't feel Lucy would have been heal through that. Whilst going on to Lucy allowed Freya to reposition herself and put out the big damage, which was devastating in the end with that big thunderclap onto Older. So coming into our second round, we have some mounts this time. Where's the invisible unicorns? It's that time. Nice panic coming in as we see Jamong trying to get some arrows in, not making too much happen. We're not really seeing any arrows to the knee just yet, with middle orb about 4 seconds from spawning. Freya doesn't really make much happen at her counter. The real strong I feel with her counter is, one, it stops the incoming projectile, 2, it gives her a shield, and the 3, it also pulls allies into her. Really one of the actual strongest counters in game, and can really work well with her kit, as we see her make nice use out of her counter this time around. As even teams are trading reasonable blows, Lucy does actually have her ultimate. Is going to kind of waste it here. I don't really feel... Oh, nice pull. That was actually a big counter. Did allow us to get some additional damage onto Jamong, as Freya putting some real big damage down. She is going to actually miss her ultimate there. trying to switch focus and do the double time. I think she felt that Jamong was low enough that she could try and get into Older and do double the trouble, but it has allowed Jamong to actually pull back to the top side and pick up middle orb for his team. But being this slow, I think it's going to be hard for him to turn around with a nice Petrify coming out of Lucy. Plus she did actually miss the Thunderclap as well, so she tried to be fancy and it did pay out, but nonetheless some big damage, and the blue team looking really dominating now. The Freya switch here is proving deadly. I didn't really play much Freya, but I need to get on her. She looks just so strong. You can see the damage, like, did actually miss her ultimate then, but the damage coming out of it. The knockback with the hammer, also the Thunderclap where you can pull targets in, and like I say, that counter, I think it's one of the strongest in game for sure. So GG. See how this pans out. Well, the red team, they were our winners from the previous round, so potentially we could have a game 3 on hand, but this is still early days. A lot more rounds to go. As we're just waiting on the blue side Lucy to pick her final Battlerite. Here we go. Coming into round 3. Blue team have been pretty damn dominating. Also the thing with Freya, she's so mobile. She has a spacebar and then she also has a Thunderclap, can avoid incoming damage, and then she's just a huge champion, and she makes a nice in-cap onto Jamong here. Trading pretty nicely along with the barrier coming out, and Lucy's going to keep it pretty nice and healthy as the red team are caught on the outside. I like the fact that the focus that they're going onto Jamong. I think he's probably the weakest one here. She did actually switch onto Older, putting some nice damage down. A big hit there as Jamong does actually land a nice rain of arrows onto Freya, and the red team looking not too bad here, but a bit of focus as Older's working on the middle, does actually pick it up for his teammates, which is going to put them pretty close to getting their ultimates, as we do see Dragon Slayer up and Freya's ultimate up, and we'll see how this actually pans out as she did miss her previous one. Jamong's ultimates were a bit off point last game. It's going to be the big difference if he can actually land them this time. As she uses a Thunderstop, can he actually counter with his ultimate? She's counter is down now. This is the time to use it. Unfortunately, she was in a pretty good position that he couldn't actually get the stun there, and really doesn't make much happen as he released it so quickly. If you hold for the 2-second charge, it does double the damage, but really you want to be getting them into that wall, and maybe once again, he did hit it, but it was probably a bit wasted. It'd been better holding on to it. We'll see how this pans out as Freya's taken some big damage using a nice knockback. You do about 40 seconds before you actually end a sudden death, so there's still plenty of life in this round as we see Lucy whip her ultimate, and a nice standard time coming. It is actually going to drop Jamong onto the blue side Freya and dropping her under 20% health, but she is going to be able to use that Thunderclap and put out some big damage, and it's really going to be hard for Older to turn this 2v1 around. The damage he puts out is huge. GG. Mid orb is up once again. We have entered sudden death now, so the blue team can play this however they want, as Older does actually pick up the mid orb this time around. With his ultimate ready, we'll see how he plays this out. Using the first time, he is actually going to drop down onto Freya, but using her spacebar, she's actually able to vault out of the incoming damage, which is very well played. Whipping her Thunderclap though. Older is actually turning this around slowly. He's putting some nice damage onto her. They've got to be a bit careful here if they're not. He does waste his counter ability, and a nice knockback is going to leave him out of the arena, and he knows that. GG. Very well played. 3-0. The blue team looking pretty dominant at the moment. So yeah, I think really the biggest issue there is what we saw in the previous round. You know, Jamong and Older combo seems strong, but Jamong's ultimates have certainly been questionable. He's missed so many, and in that situation, you know, sure her counters were down, and you know he was pretty much guaranteed to hit it, but it's kind of worthless guaranteeing to hit it if you're only going to do 40 damage and you're not going to actually stun her, which was the issue then. So I think he'd have been better holding on to it, and it could have made it a whole different round if he still had that there. But very domination by the blue team. Looks like we may be going to a third game in the semi-finals. Exciting stuff. But sure, the red team can certainly turn this around. They're just going to have to kind of bring their A game and make sure that they're not wasting too many of these skill shots. That ultimate is huge to be just letting it go to waste like that. As we see Freya taking a big chunk of damage. Lucy is going to heal up slightly here as middle is going to be coming up about 4 seconds. A nice counter is actually going to pull Jamong in, but using good use of his in-cap to keep her in place whilst Older was petrified on the top side. Freya already on the 50% health as red team do actually pick up middle orb up for themselves and looking pretty good. This is the best they've looked so far in this second game of our semi-finals. Putting some nice damage on the outside. We do see Freya coming in. She does actually whiff a thunderclap this time around. Not too far away from her ultimate, and we'll see how that actually bails out as a nice burst of time. It's going to allow him good roly-poly away from Lucio. Another wasted ultimate, but a big in-cap into the wall is going to put some big damage onto Mong. As if once again he whiffs his ultimate. It was a pretty cute idea, but unfortunately good timing or luck by Freya was actually able to leap over it. But the red team looking pretty commanding here, and I do feel Lucy's heals are going to be able to help Freya out enough here. We're about 50 seconds away from sudden death. I don't think we're going to be getting there. But we'll see how this pans out as Freya does actually start getting aggressive. Nice thunderclap. A big snare coming in from Older, and she does make good use of the shield as he rotates the bot side onto Lucy and decides to actually pull back. I'm not sure why he didn't keep up the aggression there, but it doesn't look like it's really going to matter. It's only going to delay things as a nice rain of arrows comes out on Freya from that Petrify. Another fun stop does actually miss once again, and I think that will be too much. His ultimate is ready. With all down. His best ultimate yet. He couldn't miss. GG. Very well played by the red team. Going to take this to 3-1. Could this game be over and done with now? We'll see how it goes. So our previous winners from the first game was the Jamong and Older comp. They won the, I believe it was 5-3, they won the first semi-final. Potentially our comeback is on. As Team 1 really probably want to try and finish off instead of going into another game here, as Drama looking pretty solid for themselves in these first couple of rounds. This is what the red team need to do. They need to use their range advantage and try and poke down Freya when she goes in, try and waste her those counter abilities, make sure they don't proc it, but nice damage traded by either team. Blue team are going to pick up middle orb. Being stolen by Older there, real good use of his hourglass to pick that up. Nicely done as we see a big petrify coming on to Lucy as they do wait out Freya's combo, and that's what they need. If they can wait out that counter, she's going to be in a lot of pain. But keeping up the aggression, and this is what's really starting to hurt her. She does actually land a nice combo this time. A big ultimate is probably the best ultimate. They're getting better. They're certainly getting better from Jamong. That was nicely done. And the blue team are in all kinds of trouble. Freya just took so much of a pounding at the start then. She missed 2 of her counters. It was well read by the red team. A nice rain of arrows is actually going to pick it up the middle orb for them once again, as Jamong's actually able to rotate and pick up health orbs. A nice use of his bear trap does root here in place as his ultimate is up once again. Can he make it 3 out of 3? He does actually miss it. It was too good to be true. But I don't think that's going to cost them. I could be wrong, as Freya's actually going aggressive. She looks pretty healthy at the moment. A nice in-cap, and it does whiff her ultimate. I think had that landed, it could be a different story, but with that down, and once again, not making any use out of her counter play, she's going to be in a lot of trouble. The big petrify coming out of Older onto Lucy is going to leave her in a 2v1. Really well played by the red team this time around. They really outplayed Freya then. She was trying to go aggressive, trying to make it happen, but 3 or 4 times at least I saw then she didn't actually get her counter off, which was very hard. And once she doesn't avoid the incoming damage, she doesn't get a shield, she doesn't pull them towards her, and then she just gets started getting kited. Plus, if he has his stacks, he can double dash. And GG. Comeback for sure. Maybe this will be the last game from the semi-finals tonight. A nice counter finally coming in, and is going to push the red side out the middle. And we could see the blue team picking up middle orb. Once again, what did actually quite hurt them, the blue team took the area first off, but Older was actually able to get a nice hourglass in there and steal it away. And we'll see how this pans out this time around as the blue team do secure it. As Freya already under 50% health, Jamong putting some huge damage here. He does actually whiff his rain and arrows, but some really strong pokes starting this off as he's changing his focus to Lucy. Another good use of rain arrows this time around, getting a good stare and poke down on her. As the blue team in all kinds of trouble, under 50% health. Freya does actually get a nice ultimate to secure middle orb, but putting no damage. And unfortunately, from a Jamong whiffing all his ultimates, we haven't really seen too much come out of hers. And this looks like it's going to be going to 3 apiece. As the red team looking pretty solid here, but Jamong is very nice. Big ultimate coming out from Lucy, but a great counter by Older to chuck his buddy out of danger there. His time is certainly on their side. 40 seconds away from sudden death as the red team once again pick up middle orb. A great use of Rain and Arrow is actually going to drop Freya under 20% health. A good barrier coming in from Lucy is going to keep her healed up at this moment in time. Jamong looking to be a bit aggressive. I don't think he really needs to be. He's going to be able to be careful because for sure Freya could easily turn this around as we see her going in, making a nice use of her ultimate this time around and a big incap. This could be the turnaround they needed. She does actually land a good thunderclap, but unfortunately Lucy's not there to really put any damage down herself as the blue team do pick up middle orb this time around. Freya going in, she's a little bit lost at the moment. We do actually see Lucy with her ultimate once again, but it does actually keep Jamong on that top side, which allows Freya to close the gap, which could actually work in her favour as Older does use Sands of Time to pull his ally out of trouble and look to turn this around as we see Dragon Slayer up. We're going to see it come out. No need. GG. Big turnaround. Hype, hype, hype. Very nice from our red team, sorry. So obviously they were the previous winners, Team 1 of the first game. If they do win this one, they will be moving on to tonight's final. Well, the blue team were looking pretty commanding to start things off with, but unfortunately for Freya, she's just getting outplayed pretty heavily at the moment. She's not proccing those counters, and it's really hurting her. She's with quite a few of her ultimates, and it's just too much. The problem is when I think what started off here, where she's not been able to proc those counters, and then she's taken about 40% damage up front. She does actually get her counter off quite nicely this time, and Lucy's just not able to heal through that. She does actually get some nice damage onto the red side Older. A big incap coming out onto Jamong as middle orb is up and could either go to the red team, is going to pick it up this time around as Jamong just pick up both health orbs using his rain of arrows to create some distance between him and his ally. Older incap and panics on the top side is going to push him out of danger as the blue team start to work on Jamong by making good use of his double dash and also his cloak to avoid the incoming damage. A nice electric shield is going to pull them in, but really not too much happening here as the red team using their range advantage to turn us around. But Jamong whiffing his ultimate, this could be an issue here. Once again, this is the issue we talked about and we've seen so many times coming out of him. If he actually holds up to that ultimate, there's no need for him to be thrown out as soon as he does, as the ultimate we be needing. That was very well played by Freya, juking out Jamong's and landing a perfect ultimate herself. The problem is Jamong he seems to, as soon as he gets his ultimate, he wants to use it. I kind of see where he was going, but it was a bit of a gamble, and the gamble didn't pay off, as this is actually going to be going 4-3 to the blue team now, unless Older can work his magic. His time on his side. Nice incap into the wall. We have entered sudden death. And 4-3. Potentially a game 3. Exciting stuff.
Are we surprised?
I think Jamong really wants to be a bit more careful with these ultimates, and the amount of rounds they've actually dropped. They did end up winning the last game, but it is really starting to hurt them this time around, as they are currently down, but still all to play for as we move into round 8. Nice extra shield coming in for Freya. Does actually whiff a thunderclap this time around, but has pushed the red side out with middle orb going to be up in about 5 seconds. They really do need to secure this time if they want to start putting the hurt train. Freya once again, these thunderclap misses does actually land the second one. A nice incap, but Older does pick up middle orb on the top side, which is going to get a nice amount of health for the red team, and also that bonus energy is going to be huge to be getting that ultimate a little bit sooner, which could prove devastating as Jamong actually being dropped under 50% health. Somehow taking some big damage. Older's trying his best to heal up his teammate here. Blue team really need to keep up this aggression now before they start healing out of this. Middle orb is up once again. Freya going in, making nice use of her counter. Red team do pick up the middle orb, which are going to allow both of them to have their ultimates up, and we'll see how this pans out. And she does whiff her. Once again, a nice ultimate coming out from Freya. Does actually proc Older's ultimate out himself, as we see another whiff ultimate as a big counter coming out of Freya. Does block the incoming Dragon Slayer. Nicely played by her. Jamong did have it on target, but a wild red counter. He really needs to be reading these abilities a little bit there, and I think this is probably actually going to cost him the game here, as he is panicked on the bottom side, and Freya is working on Older on the top. She does actually miss her hammer toss, but I don't feel it's going to be much of an issue. She does actually use her ultimate to close the gap. Could be a bit of a waste. We'll see how this pans out. Maybe she was a bit too hasty then. Has a nice rain of arrows as she is snared and taking some big damage. Does waste her counter It isn't going to be putting anyone in anytime soon. Lucy is healing them up. Mid orbs up. We're about 20 seconds away before we end sudden death. Freya going to aggressive. Big Petrify coming out of Lucy is going to allow Freya to put some nice damage down as Older dropping under 20% health. Red team still not out just yet, and making good use of their dashes and counters to poke down Freya. I really feel maybe she actually held on to her ultimate instead of going ham there, and it could have been a whole different story, as this really could go either way now. Making good use of a thunderclap, but a good juke out with his cloak ability. Red team do pick up middle orb once again. Lucy's ultimate's pretty much ready, and Older's, and we'll see how this pans out. There isn't going to be much time left now as the arena's starting to close in. Do see Jamon getting thrown in with his Time of Sands, and Thunderclap actually hitting Older this time. Really nicely done as he pushed on the top side, and the blue team look to be taking this one apiece. Coming from our drama. A nice ultimate from Lucy this time. Very well played. Freya picking up her A game towards the end of that round. GG. So this is currently one apiece between Drama and Team 1. Drama being our blue team here. Team 1 did pick up the first game in a 5-3, so roles reverse. So this is going to be the decider now. We're going to have one final game, 5 rounds, and we'll see how it pans out with the team moving on to the finals. We'll just wait for the lobby to be set up and we can jump into the next game, bosses. Shouldn't be too much longer. They're just going to decide what map they want to play on and waiting for the other two to connect. And then we'll be moving on to our final, which once again will be a best of 3. The winners of tonight's final and also the runners up, with the winners getting a better seed, will be moving on to November 11th, which will be a Friday. We'll be casting once again at 7 PM for the EU and midnight for NA, which works out at 7 PM for you Americans, with $250 up for grabs. It will be all previous winners and runners up from the last 4 tournaments. Should make some exciting plays. We should have some real big games coming up for that one.
What's up, bitches?
Certainly got a game on our hands for this one. Real back and forth over the last 2 games. With Team 1 taking the first game 5-3 and Drama turning around themselves going 5-3. It'd be interesting to see if anyone reverts soul comps. Will we still see the Jamong and Older? It's been pretty strong, but I do feel that Jamong's kind of cost him a bit. His ultimates have been really poor, and had they been on point, then we wouldn't be waiting in this lobby right now, that's for sure.
Hindsight is fleeting when your heart's bleeding, and all you can see
So these guys we have here, they are all rank 14s. Just the rank 14 trash. Looking down on us all. With our top side being Drama, who won the previous round, and Team 1, who took the first game. Leaving us in this thrilling game in our final, the finale, before we get into our final tonight. Alright, we shouldn't be too much longer bosses, they're just making sure everything's running smoothly, happy with the map, and we will have our finale to this best of 3. It's been really back and forth. It'll be interesting to see which team does progress onto the final and how the final actually pans out in the end. Alright, I'm just having to put this up for the moment whilst the teams pick their comp. So we have no little sneaky tactics going on. Alright, so it's going to be, the teams are selected, we're going to be going into game 3. This is the finale, there is no more. The teams are going to have to bring their A game. No more second chances now, sadly. As we can see, our blue team, a Drama, running the Freya and Lucy once again. And they're going to be coming up against our red side, Team 1, who took the first game, 5-3, with the Older and Jamong, which they've stuck to this comp throughout the semi-final. We've mixed match succession. I really do feel they probably could have won this in the 2 rounds, but the missed ultimates from Jamong has really hurt them. But there ain't going to be really any chances now. Missed ultimates are going to cost them a spot in the final, and the potential, or whatever team does progress, will be guaranteed a spot in conclusive final taking part on November the 11th. We see each team trading blows. Blue team do pick up middle order thanks to Freya's Thunderclap. That's going to be quite nice for them. As we trade blows with our first 30 seconds down, we do see Jamon getting a bit too aggressive here. Does actually able to counter the incoming Thunderclap. A nice ultimate from Lucy with his counters down. That's actually going to be GG, I feel. He's able to dash and use the double dash to get away from the moment in time. And also ultimate counting out to Older is going to keep him alive at this point in time. We should see Freya land. Oh, that was a real G. I'm quite surprised she didn't actually hit that ultimate then. Very nice. But GG, great start from the blue team. No holds barred, that was for sure. And we can see Lucy easily take out Older on the top side. GG. Very nice play by our blue team. That was, yeah, really nice. Big damage. And that's the difference here. I think Freya, and this is why I can see why they kind of stuck with it. I think if Freya can do what she needs to do, like, it's just insane. I think she's so strong, but if she makes the mistake, or the enemy team, you know, potentially read it, it's gonna she's just gonna get outpoked, and that's what we've seen. She either goes in and she wrecks, I feel, or she goes in and it goes wrong, and then she loses 50% of her health. And at that point, Lucy can't heal them up. She's spending all the time healing instead of doing any damage, and the red team take it. That's how I feel it's gonna go down. We'll see how this time it pans out. That was a really dominant game from out the blue side. Also picking up that middle orb early on was very nice for them, as we're going to see this one spawn up in about 5 seconds as each team trading quite nice blows. A good counter coming in, but nothing too much to report on. At this moment of time, as we're still in the pretty early stage, a nice rain of arrows will pick that up for the red team, as Older's 20% away from getting his ultimate. Another 50% for Jamong, as he does actually use both dashes to rotate onto the blue side Lucy. And I think this is what cost him earlier. This time it's actually working quite nicely as the big petrify come out with the Freya. But where he went way too aggressive, Lucy Freya actually wrecked him. But GG, nice start from the red team. He does actually miss his charged up bow. His ultimate is ready. It's what has been the difference. If he can land this, we GG. We'll see how it pans out. Obviously, Freya has a lot of counterplay. 1, she can counter it. 2, she can dash over it with a spacebar. And then 3, she can actually use her thunderclap to dash it. And then potentially Dramon can actually miss it himself. But nice damage coming in from the red team, really poking them out, using their range advantage really nicely. And a great ultimate there. Freya went in a bit too ham, going for the middle, but that was a well-timed ultimate. She actually got stunned into the middle orb, and that completely worked against her. One apiece. Real nice. yeah, it was. Yeah, unfortunately, Alder didn't really have the backup in that first round. You are right there, boss. Really nicely done. That was a great ult coming out of Jamong this time around. Perfectly timed, and Freya obviously trying to go in to secure that orb. He timed it perfectly to actually stun her in place. GG. One apiece. Again, this for any of you guys joining. This is our semi-finals. It is a best of 3. We're currently one apiece between Team 1, who is our red side, and Drama on the blue side. Both taking each game 5-3, so I'm sure we might have. I'm sure we probably still got a few rounds left of this one. As Freya trying to make up her mind on what she wants to play this out. Going for the survival. So the problem is, like I say, if the red team split, it's going to work well for the blue team. But if they can make the counters work, the Alder can keep the heals up, they make use of the traps, then they're just going to be able to outpoke them, and that's what really worked well in our previous round, what they took. As we see Freya looking aggressive, Rain and Arrow's not really doing too much this time around. A big stun coming out onto Dramon, and he is actually split from his teammate, and this is what the blue team really need to do if they want to be taking this round here. As Freya keeping up some big aggression, mid orbs up, and Alder working on it. He does actually pick it up with Hourglass, nicely done. Maybe a bit too ham from Freya, and actually losing on the mid side could cost him, as Alder already has his ultimate proc. As Freya dropping under 50% health already. A nice in-cap coming on from the red side Dramon, but another countered by her own in-cap, as he actually does land a nice ultimate this time around. This is what we've been waiting for. That's twice he's landed pretty good ultimates. They've been on point compared to the ones we've seen in the previous rounds. Great uses of Rain and Arrows plus dash ability to avoid the incoming damage, and that's going to be 2-1 to our red team. Really nice. It's only a matter of time, and Alder's got plenty of it. Nice. His ultimate's on point. Aimbot for sure. I don't know what's going on. Turning it around. Very nice. Good job. Carried that for sure. That was really nicely played. That's what we've been waiting to see out of him. The difference on landing those ultimates, mate. That's all I can say. Well, the problem is, once again, Freya goes in, doesn't really make anything happen, and just gets out-poked for it. They get their ultimates, they put the took the orb, and GG. As simple as that. So we see it 2-1. Freya's going to be sporting the visible unicorn, magical beast. As we see both teams coming into the middle once again, looking to take control of that first orb, which can prove pretty devastating. Trading blow for blow. We do see Freya getting her aggression on, and actually does miss her thunderclap once again and taking a bit of a pounding. Lucy's shield is actually able to avoid most incoming damage. A nice streak out her onto Jamon's bow and arrow. And the red team once again picking up the middle orb. Jamon getting a bit too aggressive here. They really need to keep up the aggression here. Nice thunderclap along with the Guru is actually going to put on some big damage to Alder, and this is the blue team could be taking this to 2 apiece. Great start. Very well played. That was a really nice ultimate. Unfortunately for Alder, his dash was on cooldown and he just got caught in the ultimate and took too much damage. It's not all patient you want to be in all that sticky goo, man. GG. This game, wow, real back and forth. So again, both of these teams are ranked 14, so very evenly matched, to be honest. It's certainly made for a very exciting best of 3 series. And this is the first series out of all 4 tournaments we've cast over where it has gone to a best of 3. What does our final have in hold for us? That is the question. There's plenty of rounds potentially still left in this one, but again, every mistake is going to start hurting now. So there isn't much time left. We see each team waiting out for the middle orb. Once again, Freya goes aggressive, but not really making too much happen. A nice shield and her barrier coming out of Lucy is going to be able to avoid that incoming damage. A good panic, and it will allow the blue team to pick up middle orb for the first time. Nicely done. She does actually pick up both energy orbs on the top side, which is going to be put a bit closer to her ultimate. We're going to need to see a big thunder slap coming out to slap them bows. As Rain of Arrows doesn't really do much there. And we're trading both of them. Nice Petrify coming for Lucy is going to allow Freya to get aggressive. Deadly Infection onto Jamong. Makes good use of his stab ability plus his dash back to avoid the incoming damage. But once again, a nice Thunderclap, and this is what we really need to see on the blue side. Unfortunately for Freya, she did actually go for a nice ultimate with a Thunderslap there. But really well countered by Alder, but as he's able to lift Jamong out of trouble, only to put him back in harm's way as he's taking a big pounding here. He really needs to get his ultimate off. He doesn't have much time as blue team are looking to take middle orb pretty successfully. A nice Petrify, and I think that will be to his death. He will drop his ultimate here, which will allow Alder to make potentially something happen, but I feel in this 2v1 with both blue team looking this healthy, it's going to be hard for him to really do anything. GG. Yeah, nicely done. Even though Alder did actually quite well counter Freya's ultimate, I don't know if it was counter or it was just unfortunate timing. The problem was where,
Just here for fun.
like, he had no really other option to chuck it onto Lucy, but every time they chuck it on Lucy, as much as it's kind of cool it stuns her, Freya just comes back in, and then Jamong's just like, yeah, and she lands a thunderclap, gets a pull in, and absolutely wrecks him, and this is what we saw in the previous round. So they went, like, it was nice because it pulled him away from Freya, but at the same time going onto Lucy just allows then Freya to get back on top of him and punish him. Maybe it would mean better instead of actually going for the stun just to put him out of harm's danger. As every time he does actually get ulted in, they seem to pay the price for it. As you see, Freya wants to go getting her aggression on. Does actually get caught by the root. That could cause us some big damage. Nice hourglass coming from Alder. It looks like the red team will be able to pick up mid orb pretty easily here with the rain of arrows to make sure they secure that. Nice Petrify coming into Alder. He is able to dash away, and a big pull in coming out of Freya as we're trading pretty evenly at the moment. Lucy is running a little bit low as Jamong making good use of his double dash, but this is going to leave him vulnerable on the top side as Alder is petrified in the moment as he's dropped under 50% health. But a good route is going to leave him in good stead for the moment. A Thunderclap is missed. Mid orb is up once again. I feel Freya is actually going to lose out on it. Unfortunately, doesn't have the auto attack damage. A nice in-cap coming out onto Jamong. The blue team looking pretty healthy here. She lands a nice Thunderclap and also counters his ultimate there with her. Like, I feel with that ultimate down, it's going to be a big task for the red team to really turn this around. I think what's been deciding a lot of these rounds, what seem to be decided on whether Jamong's been able to land his ultimate or not. And unfortunately, in a bit of a sticky situation, he kind of wanted to get away. I guess his dash was down. I'm not sure. Maybe he fired it too early again, or he did as it was countered. But did he have much of a choice? Hard to say. But GG. 4-2 to the blue team. Do we still have some more life in this yet, or will this be drama moving on to tonight's final? But Freya's aggression working out pretty nicely that time around. And really didn't take as much as she did actually kind of get countered a little bit there. She didn't really get punished for it as much as we have seen in the previous rounds. Nice in-cap coming is actually allowed to close the mark here as she does pop her Thunderclap a bit too early there, and that is going to be wasted there. She drops under 50% health here, and this is what could start working in favour of the red team as they do actually pick up middle orb here. Freya changing her focus to Alder with a barrier is actually going to be able to protect her at the moment. Who's going to pick up both health orbs for the time being, but the red team looking pretty commanding at the moment. She does jump onto a unicorn and looking to keep up the aggression on Alder. He has actually got his ultimate already, and we'll see how this pans out. A nice ultimate coming in by Lucy, but he is actually going to counter with his Time of Sands and leaping onto and putting a nice hourglass, dropping under 50% health as Freya once again getting aggressive. The blue team lose out on the middle orb here, and that could be quite costly. We might still have a bit more life into this one just yet as Freya does rotate to the top side, picking up both health orbs as Jamong's currently petrified. We've still got about a minute before we enter sudden death, so time is certainly on Alder's side. A nice route coming in. She is actually going to whiff her Thunderclap on Thunder Lightning once again. Has a nice counter coming in by Alder and a great ultimate coming in from Jamong. The dragon was slain. GG. There's definitely life in this one yet. Should I have expected anything less? Nicely done. Good ultimate, good counter by Older to actually avoid the incoming ultimate from Freya, but I think if she actually landed it, I don't think it would have done enough, but who's to say? But GG, well timed, good reactions. As we coming into round 8 now. Again, the blue team only need one round to actually move on to the final and potentially be in for the line of grabbing $250 in the November the 11th overall final. Nice route coming in. That was a good bear trap placed by Dramong to actually warp her down when she used her double dash. Do see the blue team having command of position, and they actually going to be able to secure the middle orb for themselves. Nicely done. Once again, another missed thunderclap. A nice in cap coming onto Older, and the blue team looking pretty good here as a big deadly inflection is actually going to drop Dramong under about 30% health there, with middle orb coming up in about 4 seconds. Either team looking pretty even at the moment, but a nice bit of poke coming out by the red side. It is going to leave Freya in a bit of trouble. But all she needs to do is make a nice counter. That was a good leap in there with a thunderclap to actually secure middle orb for her teammate. Gee, nice time, but it is going to block the incoming damage. A good ultimate coming in. She is going to put some nice damage onto Older. She'll see how they can follow this up. He is a little bit vulnerable at the moment with no dashes. Deciding to switch to Dramong now. I really feel that keeping the pressure on Older would have been a better thing with everything on cooldown. He was pretty vulnerable. A nice ultimate coming out of Dramong. Doesn't actually finish his target, but is going to put some big damage and going to make her think twice about re-engaging here. With middle orb looking to actually fall to the red team. GG. Well played. That was yeah, nicely done. Once again, Freya's just taking a bit too much of a pounding here, and it looks like we're actually going to be going to round 9 with the way things are going at this moment in time. A nice rain of arrows. Even though it doesn't actually hit his target, it means that she doesn't really have any other way to go. But she is going to chuck her ultimate out and does get a nice hit onto Older, chucking his health down and actually causes some big damage here as Freya turns out of nowhere with a massive thunderclap. But Dramong actually picking up mid orb for himself. His ultimate is ready, and he's going to have to turn something big around here if he wants to turn this one around and make it into tonight's final for his team. Tense moments. The red team, if they really wanted to, could wait this out, but with his ultimate, could actually knock one of them out at the sudden death timer, which could hurt. Looks like they are going to be able to pick up middle orb to themselves. Nice counter coming in by Freya. Didn't really have much coming in there. Big barrier is actually going to save her. She does whiff her ultimate, and he is going to waste it. I think that's GG now. Unfortunately, he tried, but the thunderclap, just because she used her ultimate, she still had a dash and thunderclap and was able to perfect time with good reflections. I feel if he actually held on to that for a little bit longer with the sudden death coming in, he could have flung one out, and maybe that would have been enough. But GG, well played. So Drama, our blue team, then turned it around. I feel the red team probably, in all fairness, should have actually gone on to tonight's final, but Dramong whiffed a few too many ultimates. It was a bit too hasty with them, and it ended up costing them. So very well done by Drama. Big turnaround. I didn't see that coming. Freya was massive towards the end, but I feel Dramong could have maybe actually made that 2v1 work, but again, a little bit too hasty with his ultimate there, and it cost him. GG. What an exciting best of 3 series. That's probably the best one yet. So it's probably going to be a couple minutes before our final bosses, which is going to wrap up tonight's tournament. Again, the finalists will be moving on to November the 11th. There's going to be 8 teams for EU and another 8 teams for our NA, which is going to be starting off at 7 PM, and there's going to be $250 up for the winners. So it's going to be the finalists from the previous tournaments, with the winners having the better seed. So yeah, we'll be a couple minutes bosses for the next one. It was very intense. I couldn't catch a breath. It was non-stop. That was what, 5, 10, 15, 59, 24 rounds, I think that was all in total. That was pretty insane stuff. So hopefully our final can live up to the hype of that as well. We'll see how it pans out. It was very well played by both teams. It shows you the difference where they were both ranked team. I think it was very evenly matched, but you know, you make those few mistakes, and I think Dramong's ultimates, as much as he made some really nice plays, his ultimates did cost him. He was doing everything right, but his ultimates did land some nice ults, but it's those missed ones what end up costing him there, unfortunately. But GG, well played to both teams. It was very nice, very good fun to cast over. It was one of the most exciting games we've actually had. It was very back and forth. we'll see how it pans out into the final. Don't think I could take much more of this. Hectic. We're just waiting for the guys to pick their champions. I'm not going to actually show the champ to select, so any of the guys possibly watching won't have any advantage over their partners. Also, a quick side note, I will be uploading the blogs from this, from the EU tournament and the NA tournament, up onto my YouTube channel. You can click on the YouTube button below and it'll take you there. It should be uploaded by tomorrow night or Sunday morning, depending on how long it takes to render. So pretty damn long. So it'll be separate files to the NA and EU. So if you played in the tournament or you missed some of it and you want to check out some games, we've had both tournaments have been really good. And the semi-finals there was very intense. So you'll be able to check them out on my channel, and also the previous tournaments, game Q1, Q2, and Q3 are all up on there at the moment. So we're going to be underway very shortly. Alrighty then, here we are, bosses, underway for our final tonight. Big hype. So a quick reminder of the brackets, how it's panned out. We have seen World Peace taking the previous semi-final, and Drama was the team that we were currently watching then, who won that very intense best of 3. So Drama are going to be sticking with the Freya and Lucy combo, very deadly, and they're going to be coming against the older Andromong. Which, funny enough, is the comp from last time. It was actually our previous semi-final game. Camping's underway, so both teams here will be playing in the finale on November the 11th. As I mentioned before, there is $250 up for grabs for the winner for EU and NA. So there's a lot to play for. Obviously the winner of this will have a better seed, so it's worth keeping in mind. There's a lot to play for, as Jamong does actually secure middle orb for his blue side. Nicely done, a good snipe using his charged up bow to pick that up. Good start for them. As we see Freya really getting kind of poked out at the moment, and this is the big difference what we really saw in the previous one. It depends on how much damage she can take on early on, with a nice petrify coming out from Older onto Lucy then. She was left all alone and took a big chunk of damage. Jamong really can put out the pain train, as we're seeing at this point in time. Looking pretty solid stuff. So either team are trading, but at the same time, as much as she can get chunked out, she can actually get onto her allies, especially with the Thunder ultimate, along with the Thunderclap, and also the Q ability to make that counter with the shield and the pull-in. It can be really dangerous, and you don't want to underestimate her, no matter what HP she has. But the blue team do seem to have control of the middle orb, and they're actually going to pick up with both members' ultimates pretty much ready. Jamon deciding to use his rain and arrows here instead of going for Dragon Slayer. Smart choices. He completely wrecks Fred, and it's a really actual. He does actually miss his ultimate. It's not going to be any issue here. It's only going to delay things. One thing which is pretty important to note, Jamong's rain and arrows is really deadly on Freya. The fact that it snares her and reduces that movement speed is just going to really cancel that distance and how quickly she can actually get on top of him. Or even if she's retreating, it's going to take her a lot longer to get away, which allows him and Older to actually put some nice damage down on the backside, which is always good. As you see, the blue team take a first round. GG. Time go indeed, Mr. Longneck. Mar. Look at him. What a bad man. Alrighty, here we go, round 2. Nice in-cap coming out by Jamong, and this is the combo I was talking about earlier, where he gets the in-cap from his Q and then tops it off and puts his bear trap down. Obviously once he starts getting some tanners behind him, it can really cause him to do some big damage, but Freya making the nice start that we want to see from the red side here. Dropping Jamong already under 20% health, and he's going to be in a bit of issue. Actually holds onto Thunderclap quite nicely there, does use a hammer to knock him back. He's actually able to retreat and pick up both health orbs, and the aggression kind of died down, and he's now actually using his range advantage to poke her out. Older is going to use Sands of Time to fly on top of the Lucy and stun her in places. Freya in all kinds of trouble. She does get a nice in-cap plus ultimate combo onto Older, but unfortunately the damage just isn't there with him being close to 3/4 health when she went in. Blue team once again actually do pick up middle orb this time around as we see her get a nice in-cap around. We do have to be careful. He does actually have his ultimate, and this time does pick up. I'm not sure how he actually finished her off, and maybe there was something following her. There was maybe nice ult. Even though it didn't actually stun her into the wall, with her being that low, it did actually get the final blow and kept her away from him. Otherwise, he could have been in a lot of trouble. He was actually running quite low there. So really nicely played by Jamong, and it looks like the blue team are going to be taking this 2-0. Good start. Once again, Lucy all alone. I know that feeling, bro. I know that feeling. Her ultimate is ready, and we're going to see her. She decided to use her roll ability to try and avoid the incoming damage, and she is actually caught on the outside of the arena with sudden death coming in. Jamal making good use of his stealth, but does actually miss his ultimate, but isn't going to cost them this time around. GG. Nicely done.
The sands are mending.
2-0. Great start for the blue side. See how this pans out. I really feel that Lucy and Freya can turn this around. They've just got to be a bit more sensible the way they actually go in and be careful of getting kited around. She did actually get some nice damage on Shimon. We have seen her put some big damage, but they just haven't been able to follow up. They fall back, they heal up, they get poked out, and time is really against them. Oldor is the keeper of time, and it's proven as Jamon putting some nice damage onto the red side. Lucy here, big group coming onto Freya. She does actually knock him away using a good use of a dash ability to get the thunderclap of Big Petrify coming out onto Older as they switch target with a deadly infection. Is going to drop him pretty low. He is actually pretty runnable now to her ultimate. Let's see how this pans out. This could be a very nice play with a big in-cap. He does actually use his time bender to knock Freya away for this moment in time and keep him alive for the time being as Jamong puts some nice damage onto the red side. Good counter coming out by Freya is going to keep her ally alive as middle orb does fall to the blue side this time around. And Freya getting out-poked here. I really did feel she was going to turn this around then, but Jamon getting a real nice big hit of Rain of Arrows, and that was what I was talking about with the slow there. One, you're taking the big hit from all the arrows raining down on you, and also it allows him to get like 2 or 3 additional auto attacks on there. Plus if Boulder's focusing you, you're going to be in big trouble, which really did kind of turn things there. But a nice counter coming in. It's actually going to pull both targets in. A deadly infection here. It's going to have to pop Boulder's ultimate to save his ally, and a big stun. Nice counter is still somehow Freya is alive with Barra coming out from Lucy, and this really could go either way at the moment with a nice hammer toss killing Older. We do see Jamon able to actually avoid the incoming out ultimate from Freya. She does proper counter and is going to survive for the time being as Jamon does with his ultimate in this situation. I think he'd probably better actually cancelling that. He was never really going to take it from that range. They're a bit too far away. And it looks like the red team could be taking their first round in this series. Again, this is a best of 3. So potentially still a lot more action to go as the red team looking pretty dominant in this one. GG. Very nice.
Like water and oil, we just don't mix.
Good job, really nice. There is still life for the red team yet. Somehow, I honestly thought the blue team were about to wreck that round. That was how Freya was able to survive. Her shield, and then Lucy's shield, and then her damage just comes out of nowhere. It was massive, so very nice. 2-1. So the blue team come charging in. See how this next round pans out. Jamong putting out some nice damage, making good use out of his stealth once again. Doesn't actually get the in-cap, but does make some nice damage come out from Rain Arrows. But Freya really putting that hurt down, does get caught in the bear trap, making good use of the counter once again, putting it in both targets. Does waste a thunderclap, but does get the AoE effect to do that slight damage. Mid orb is up. I really feel that the red team want to keep the aggression here, then actually put him back from the mid side with Jamong so low. It seems stupid that they would kind of leave him to be at the moment, as they do actually a blue team pick up mid orb, and this could end up costing them as Lucy's dropping pretty low here. Freya carrying on the aggression, does actually miss her thunderclap and is going to be rooted on place here. And it looks like the blue team are going to turn us around. Rhaenyra isn't going to hit his target, but is going to push onto the top side as she picks up both health orbs. Mid orb up once again, a nice route, and she does. Whoa, 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 whoa. Wow, I honestly thought she got killed. Where's a replay system when you need one? Jeez, that well, I honestly thought when she ulted that Jamong was just going to one-shot her, but she. Wow. She squashed him. I'm actually blown away. GG. 2 pieces by the looks of things. Nice petrify. It's going to allow them to put the easy damage in the deadly infection. Although it is going to get a bit aggressive, he has another real option here then to try and make something happen. Nice petrify. A good thunderclap is going to get that lightning strike. How did Freya? Wow, I'm amazed. That was. I thought she was. Oh, I thought she was suiciding with that ultimate. Wrecked. Deary me. That was insane. GG. 2-2. Another great game on our hands. I really can't call this at the moment. As we see them coming into round 5. A nice counter coming in by Freya, but not too much is actually really going to come off here. She decided to actually work on Older this time. She's previously been putting the focus down onto Mong, but she's been switching her target. I really think she wants to make up her mind and keep her one. Keeping the switching is not going to do her any favours here. There's a nice in cap along with the double dash is actually going to get Mong out of trouble as the red team, I think, actually did pick up the mid orb this time around. Nice petrify coming in by Older, comboed with the bear traps, going to take some nice damage onto Freya. As the blue team looking to keep the aggression onto the red side Freya. Once again, another missed ultimate. Older does actually use his time of sands to release Jamong onto the top side of Freya. As you see, blue team once again pick up the mid orb. Let's see what Jamong can make with his Dragon Slayer. He did actually decide to use his Rhaenyra this time being. He's placed a nice trap. A good panic is actually going to push him out of the arena. But Older looking pretty healthy here. They're going to really have to get onto Jamong quickly. We're about a minute away from sudden death, so still plenty of life in this round. But yeah, mid orb is up and the blue team looking pretty commanding here. Rhaenyra is actually going to miss the target as Freya's actually able to jump in there and secure the health and energy for her teammate. Nicely done. Does waste her counter this ability this time and doesn't even get the in cap on the wall and takes a bit of a punishing for it. Nice use of a thunderclap to get the slow onto Older, using her leap to close the gap. But at the moment, a bit of switch focus. I really feel that she should have kept on to Jamong. That leaving him alone for the time being has allowed him to actually heal up, and you can see the damage he's putting out as Lucy getting hit by the Dragon Slayer is in a bit of trouble as Older chucking out Time of Sands on top of her as he is panicked away, and Jamong looks like he's going to be able to finish both of these off quite easily. Maybe not. Mount up. I like it. Star points. Still can happen. This is what we saw before. Freya is deadly as she makes a nice counterplay here. Mid orb is up. 2 seconds. We're going to be entering sudden death, so they're going to have to start moving in soon. But there isn't much time to play around with now. The blue team looking really healthy here with a good 70% of health compared to the 35% of the red team. We see a nice knockback coming, but it's only really delaying time as he makes a good use of the stealth combo with the thunderclap. But unfortunately, as much as Lucy does get an okay off, she does get dropped by Older. It was going to always be hard for the red team to turn around with such low health and mid orb, closing in with a sudden death. GG. Very nice. Exciting stuff. Coming into round 6. We're going to see not much poke landing at the moment. Standard Time is going to actually do a little bit of dot damage to Lucy. They're not going to trouble us. Freya actually coming in the behind, making some nice damage onto Older as he actually uses his dash to get away from the trouble. Blue team do pick up the middle orb as Freya doesn't have enough auto damage or attack speed to pick that up this time around. As Lucy already dropped another 50% health, getting caught in every arrow from that rain of arrows coming out of among them. Really nice as he makes good use of his dash ability to put some big damage down here. Saying that though, Older is actually in a bit of trouble himself, and this really could go either way once again, as both supports running under 50% health. Freya going for the aggression, a nice petrify onto Jamong is going to allow her to do what we want, but we trade in blow for blow as each support does actually land a petrify. Really even matchup, and it's exciting stuff. The round looking in favour of the red team at the moment, I'd say, as Freya carrying on the aggression, but another good dash coming out of Older. A good ultimate coming in by Freya. Does actually catch Older down to 10% health, but somehow he is still surviving. She does actually miss her hammer toss, and was that going to come costly as he's still somehow alive, with Jamong trying to put enough damage to keep his ally up as he's healing out on the backside. Red team do pick up all with 30 seconds. We're going to be entering sudden death. Older is going to actually be able to pick up both health orbs and healed himself up about 15% health, which is quite amazing really. There's a bit of a nice ultimate by Freya, but unfortunately her follow-up was a bit poor, and allowing him to actually survive then could be a poor choice. A nice ultimate coming out by Lucy, comboed with a hammer toss. We'll make sure he does die this time. GG. Jamong is going to be in all kinds of trouble with the red team looking very healthy and sudden death to come in. It looks like it's going to be going 3 apiece. Nice, good use of the panic. Very nice. Exciting stuff. Alrighty then. 3-all. No mercy whatsoever. This game has got no signs of slowing down. I thought the semi-finals was exciting. We've certainly got our hands full for this tonight's final. As we see it, our team's coming into round 7, trading blow for blow. A nice time better coming out. Older is actually going to be able to knock his targets away, as Fred does actually get petrified here, and it's going to slow down the pace of things as Lucy dropping under 20% health at the moment. Does actually get some nice heals. Mid orb is going to be spawning for the first time in this round, and we'll see which team decides to pick this up as Freya starts working on it and is actually going to pick it up. Very nicely done. Older does actually put some nice damage down onto Lucy, but is a bit overextended as Freya comes behind him and makes some nice use of a thunderclap, comboed with a counter to avoid the incoming damage. As he's currently under 50% health, I think she really wants to stick to her target, a big petrify. This is the time. He does decide to actually use a hammer toss onto Jamong then. It wouldn't really have done necessarily much damage onto Older, but I'm not really sure what she was thinking there, but it wouldn't really been too much of an issue. Nice thunderclap. Older is really low. Her ultimate is currently down, and we're going to be a bit of a way off before we see any more ultimates in this round with a minute left. Older did actually pick up middle orb during that, which is going to give his teams the bonus health and energy, which is going to be much needed at this point in time. They need to keep up this aggression because Older's actually picked up both health orbs and not far from being up to 50% health now. As they're deciding to go into Jamong for some reason, I'm not really sure where this focus is going here. The Older's so low, it wouldn't really take them much to actually finish him off here, as the red team do pick up middle orb. I think they're playing a bit too cautious, and this could actually hurt them. A nice pull is going to bring Older out of position. Now this is the time to shine with his dash down. He has no escape. He's got no ultimate. The longer they leave, his ultimate is actually going to be up now, and he's going to be able to use that to avoid the incoming blow. As once again he's able to dash. Jamong does actually whiff his ultimate, and this could be the turning point for our red team, as a nice in-cap coming out of Freya onto the red side of Jamong. Sands of time down, I really feel both ultimates out for the blue side. Older had no other use but to use that defensively. Could be deadly now. A nice panic is going to allow them to focus out. A big thunderclap comboed with the goo will be GG. A little bit messy. I feel they could have just absolutely destroyed Older instead of taking so much longer. But getting the long way around about it, but they done it, and that's actually going to be going 4-3 to our red team. Sudden death. Time is still his friend. Time doesn't kill Older. No way. He died to no time. GG.
Like water and oil,
Very nice.
we just don't mix.
And the difference in landing those ultimates once again, and I'd say this was the same matchup which we saw in the semi-final, and really being the issue as Fireblaze has mentioned. Please remind him to remove F from his keyboard. Missing those ultimates, it's game changing. As we see potentially the red team going to be securing their first victory in this best of 3, but still a lot to play for, with the blue team needing 2 to turn this around. Mid orb is going to be out, the blue team looking pretty McCann, position to take this. Freya a little bit late to the party, as she is actually going to be petrified in place, with Jamong putting some nice damage onto Lucy, only for her to roll out of the incoming rain of arrows. Nice time bender is actually going to block the incoming damage along with the panic onto Freya. Blue team looking really to position them in a nice route. We'll see how Freya can actually really needs to get onto Jamong and get that thunderclap going. She does actually whip it once again, and Lucy dropping down massively, then getting pinned in the corner with that rain of arrows, and a nice amount of damage coming out of the keeper of time, that is Older. And it looks like it's going to be 4 apiece, but a big ultimate coming out from Freya, but he is going to be countered by the stab coming out of Jamong on top of the rain of arrows. I think this is all going to be a bit too much for her. GG. Well, that was pretty quick. No messing about. Very nice.
Collect your trophies.
Exciting stuff. Someone's got to win. So again, this is a best of 3, so potentially with the way this is going, we could actually see 2 more games. Maybe we see 1 more. With them tied at 4 apiece. As we come into the middle once again, we do see Freya carrying on the aggression. Does actually get in cap thanks to Jamong's stealth. Not really too much going on. She does actually land her pull, but it really isn't going to make too much happen here. But sure, I'm most likely will be up off cooldown for the next fight, which is going to be the important thing. Mid orders is up. I'm sure Lucy should be able to. Actually, she does lose it. A nice hourglass coming up by Older to pick that up for her teammates. Really nice. As Jamong actually caught out Lucy here and putting on some big damage, and Freya isn't able to complete. This is a great start for the blue team here. Jamong needed some real big damage, but a great in cap actually coming from the top side of Freya, and this could be what they need to turn this and take the first game for themselves for drama here. Mid orb is actually going to fall to the blue team once again. I really feel that the focus, like, I kind of see where they're going, but with Jamong being at 50% health, I feel that they should just stick on him, especially with both his dashes down now, that he's really vulnerable right now, and this could be a big issue, but a nice ultimate coming in by Older, a great roly-poly away from Freya, is going to keep her alive for this time being. A great panic is actually going to somehow keep her alive along with her barrier, but Freya may drop it with the Petrify. No ultimates at the moment, a great use of her counter ability to block the incoming damage. Does actually whiff her ultimate here, but a great Petrify coming in by Lucy. She can just get her hammer toss, a great use of her counter once again, and somehow Jamong is actually surviving with just 5 health. We dropped to them. The mid orb has been picked up by the red team, but I really feel once again they want to keep the aggression up here. We're 20 seconds away from sudden death, and they certainly have the advantage. We'll see how it pans out. Rain Arrow is actually missing with a big Petrify onto Jamong. You can only think this is going to be GG, but a great counter coming out, and that was perfectly timed. Had it been anything else, we'd have sure have been a 2v1 in favor of the red team. But great play. GG. Very well played. That was a very well timed Q coming out of Jamong. Saving his bacon for sure, man. That was very impressive. Well done. Time ago, I like it. I love it. Time ago, the Older. Makes sense. It all makes sense now. He is the chosen one. GG. So we're going to wait for the next round to be set up. We're just going to let them sort out the lobby, and then we're going to be able to jump in bosses. A really nice game. Another very exciting game. So this is a best of 3. If you want to, with potentially another 2 games to go, we'll see how it pans out. The games are really close at the moment. It's exciting stuff. I'll let you know. We shouldn't be too long before we get into the next one, bosses. This is the finals currently at the moment. Yes, indeed, boss. Indeed. We are currently in a best of 3. all to play for at the moment. There's some big games or big players coming out of either team. We're going to be getting under with the next round very shortly. Time go indeed. Time is certainly on his side, that's for sure. Alright bosses, we're just going to wait for them to select the map they want to play on, along with pick the champions, and then we'll be able to jump into some gameplay. Big hype. Final hype. Again, both teams, they have already qualified for the November 11th finals, which are going to see 8 teams from Q1 to Q4, all the finalists and runners up, taking place at $250. Ching. Oh, I'm commentating. I sat here commenting, I should have got involved. Gonna wreck them all. I've seen all their strategies now, I know how it is. They're all to play. It's time go. I'm watching you, bro. Right, so yeah, we should be underway shortly, bosses. So currently at the moment, World Peace did actually take our first map, our first game, 1-0, very close indeed. Drama have still got all to play for. They certainly brought the game to them, and they were unfortunate not to pull it off in the end, but we'll see how this plays out. Maybe we'll see some different comps coming in. Will they mix it up or stay with what has been working? It's been very close. It just can go either way. It's whoever misses their ultimates really. Jamong, which like we've seen in the semi-finals, his ultimate's been missed too many times, and it's really cost the teams that have actually picked him. But yeah, we have about a minute, bosses, and we'll be able to get into game. Alright then bosses, here we go into game 2 of tonight's NA 2v2 PlayTourney final. Big hype. Let's see what either team can pull off here, as we do actually see a little bit switch in comps as Drama changing things up. Obviously after losing the previous round, they decided actually going with the Asuka and Pearl this game. I think Pearl is a really strong support at the moment. the counters upon counters, a dive, and then the fact she can block projectile, and then with her talent she can put bubbles down and put the other bubbles down, and it's just bubbleception. We'll see how it pans out. Asuka was the top pick coming out of drama before at the trial. We'll see if he can bring out the Asuka plays this time around, as both teams trading pretty evenly here to start things off. Remember, our red team did take the first game, so if they do actually win this round, it will be them taking the top seed for the final in 2 weeks' time. Nice Infernal Scorch coming and comboed with the Jaws armor out of Pearl, taking a big bite. Jaws certainly loves Go. Spat out his dead corpse, poor guy. Pretty bit hairy. But you do see Jamon pick up his ultimate, but it's only going to be good for actually hitting middle orb and not even able to finish off middle orb, sadly for him. As he's going to be left in a 2v1, Asuka's able to easily take that orb. With sudden death kicking in, there isn't really much hope. And well done. Great use of their combos together. That was really nice. Infernal Scorch into the Jaws combo. Poor old Older didn't really stand a chance. So if the blue team do take our 5 rounds in this game, we will be going to a finale best of 3. If the red team take the 5, they will be crowned our winners tonight. As we see Asuka really putting the pounding down on these poor old pumpkins. What did they ever do to him? Alrighty then, round 2 it is. Let's see how this pans out. Asuka going super aggressive, making good use of his shield here and putting some nice damage and really not taking anything back for us. Older's already dropped under 50% health. He's actually going to land his Molten Cure as well. And what a burst on Older. I'm not sure his dashes as he's taking huge hits here. He's actually going to be able to pull up, and the red team will secure middle orb this time around, which will give them that slight heal and bonus energy. But what a pounding coming out of Asuka. He's already got his ultimate. See him use Infernal Scorch on the top side onto Older, who did not know what hit him there. That was some big damage. Wow, GG. Really nicely done. As we see Jamong left in a 2v1 once again. The Pearl and Asuka really working out well at the moment. Asuka was able to completely zone out Older then, and he's no chance getting locked in that bottom corner. He took a massive pounding. Really well played. GG. 2-0. Maybe we'll be seeing one more game. It is then. Round 3. Waiting for Mr. Longneck to pick his final talent and we'll be able to get underway. That was some beating right there, dearie me. Very impressive play by coming out from Asuka, and this is what we saw in the previous rounds when we were casting over drama. Ultimate ready. If only, bro. If only. Should be wait very shortly. Looks like Mr. Longneck can make up his mind on how he wants to go. See it. Oh. He's going for it. No. Yes. No. It's tough choices. And he's going for it. Here we go. Riding their invisible unicorns into battle. Luckily for them. Lucky for the teammates or allies, they don't actually have an invisible coat, it's just their mount invisible. How OP would that be? We'll see an early bear trap getting put in place, not really going to actually come to anything here. Again, I really think the best way with Jamong with his bear trap is to go in with his Q, then place the bear trap down because it's a guaranteed route and big damage. But this time around, as much as Asuka has chunked out a big chunk of Boulder, he's eating a lot of damage himself, and we're going to see both teams kind of pull back here and start healing up. Asuka really on the aggressive, making good use to actually pick up both health orbs here, but he is actually going to be split away from Pearl, and what he really needs here is Pearl's bubble to kind of block the incoming damage. He does make good use of his firewall, but countered by the incoming in-cap from Jamong, as both teams really trading some big blows at the moment. Older is actually going to use standard time to chuck him into the danger. Could this be a bad idea, as Asuka actually drops him and does pick up his ultimate already? We're going to see Infernal Scorch probably come out any second now, as he makes good use of his dash to do the original damage and make sure that there's no chance of Jemong escaping that one. Well played.
Another victory,
Thought-
all thanks to me.
Well, they were in a bit of trouble then at the point. Asuka took some huge damage coming from Jong. The problem was then, it was really well played and obviously they did cap the victory there, but I'm not sure where Pearl was. It was like, Pearl, I never saw her bubble. He really needed, if he could actually, if she chucked that bubble down in front of Jemong, then Asuka would have been laughing and looking over a bit quicker. It didn't hurt them, but you know, potentially going on further, it could be an issue. We'll see what happens. Very aggressive. Aggression is certainly paying out at the moment. As we see him once again getting involved, the trap doesn't actually come to any use this time around. Just check out his multiplicator all to be dashed by Older, but I don't know if Older really wants to be dashing into Asuka, potentially dashing away, but he actually corners the top side, and once again, so where is Pearl's bubbles? This is the problem here. Asuka's taken such a pounding unnecessary, which we could all be solved by one little bubble. A nice pick up by the red team on middle orb, but bubbles or not, fire wins, I guess. Asuka's damage at the moment is just insane. We are actually going to see him using Infernal Scorch, but a good amount coming out from Jemong is only going to delay things here as he's stuck once again at 2-1. I'm starting to get used to this as we see the blue team take it 4-0. Looks like we're most likely going to be going to one more game. Wow. The red team are going to have to rethink their strategy for the next game at this rate. Asuka, as much as every time he looks in, like he feels like he's actually getting pounded, he pounds them a little bit harder. GG. Easy peasy. Very good start for the blue team here. As we see Drama currently 4-0 up against World Peace. The World Peace do hold the one game advantage over them at the moment in time into tonight's NA final. So once again, it looks like Older. Does he have the time? His time is running out, bro. As much as he is the timekeeper, and it's going against him as he struggles to make up his mind on how he wants to play this out. Oh, he's going for it. Oh, time is ticking, bro. And a switcheroo at the end. So he changes his mind. How about that? Here we go. This could be our final round of this game and going into our best of 3. But can we see the red team turn this around? For sure, there's definitely potential. We can see a nice bubble coming out from Pearl. Asuka once again continues his aggression. There's no hard bar, but does actually get caught in the brute here. But a nice dash is going to avoid the incoming damages. A big hourglass hit from Older is going to cause them some issues. You do see the bubble shield coming out of Pearl, along with the firewall from Asuka to block the incoming projectiles. But taking a bit of a bigger pounding here, certainly hasn't done the damage we saw in the previous rounds that he was destroying, but not too far away from his ultimate now. As once again he jumps onto Older, and like you feel that Asuka's in a bit of trouble, but then he just, next thing you know, he leaps in and puts down a massive pounding. Great use of his firewall once again to protect himself, as he looked like he was in big trouble there. Pearl looking pretty healthy, but really needs to actually help a teammate here. She does actually land a nice ultimate onto Older, but unfortunately for her teammate does die on the top side. As much as Asuka I think is playing some real nice plays here, I just don't feel Pearl's putting enough follow up and just kind of ditching him. She needs to really be, like, obviously Asuka's got good mobility and a bit more than Pearl, but she really needs to be up his backside and protect him with some bubbles. Otherwise, in that situation there, we're going to see the red team pick up their first round of the game. Mid orb is up, they're going to be able to easily secure that. We are into sudden death, so Pearl has another option but start closing into the arena. She'd actually pick up her teammate's ultimate here, potentially with a double man ultimate, and then using it to recast it to actually throw them out the arena. Could be the play. She's looking pretty healthy at the moment. She just come in. A nice sign is this is the time where she wants to look to really get her ultimate off to make a big heal. So she's actually knocked out the arena. Big petrify coming in by Mr. Longneck. She is going to chuck out her ultimate, and unfortunately does miss here. And I think that will be all she wrote. A nice Dragon Slayer. And this time it was the Pearl Slayer. GG. Unfortunately on Pearl's behalf, like, I feel maybe if she kept her ultimate on, like, she didn't really have much choice. She really needed to get both of them in her ultimate then. But she tried. That's all you can do. Yeah, they were just too split then, and Asuka just got pounded on the top side, and I think that was the issue. Let's see how it goes. Come back maybe? Maybe there won't be a game 3. Let's see how this goes going into our next one. With Drama looking in pretty good position over World Peace at this moment in time. Hashgar doesn't really make too much of his fireball projectors at the point. We are going to see a mid-orb coming up. He is actually going to dodge out the rain of arrows, which is going to be pretty useful for him. And red team once again picking up that orb. Looks like Askar is actually going to trade 1-for-1 on the health orbs on that top side. Not really too much of an issue, but a nice engage by Older and putting some big damage on the Pearl. I really feel they want to focus down the Askar. Pearl is just such an annoying to deal with, and if they can keep Askar on the run, he isn't going to be doing the necessary damage that he really needs if they want to be winning this. He does actually use Infernal Scorch, and this time really not making anything use of it. Does proc his X-Shift ability, but only getting one hit out of the possible 3, and not really getting the heal that he needs at this point in time. And the red team looking very commanding at this to take it to 4-2. But it's not even until it's over, as the mid-orbs are going to be up in about 5 seconds. We do see Askar actually pick up both health orbs, but gets petrified, into trouble, putting it away. He is looking okay. Middle orb is once again up. It looks like it will be put into Demong. Nicely done. A big silence, and they are trading. This could really go either way. Older's ultimate is up and Pearls, and we'll see how this pans out with 30 seconds left of this round. Askar taking some big sand dust to the face at this point in time. Pearl does actually miss her counter, and both of them having to use their abilities to defensively escape, as Pearl actually knocked into the wall there and dropped under 10 health, but somehow was able to heal through. Does actually get her counter, but unfortunately for her, she's in all sorts of trouble. GG, 4-2. Oh, goodness gracious. Oh my goodness.
This match felt like an
GG.
eternity.
As we're going to see both teams coming into round 7 then. I really think the blue team were looking pretty commanding, but they're kind of starting to throw away the lead, and the red team are starting to build on their hype from the previous rounds and feeling pretty confident themselves because they get a nice amount of damage on the Pearl. She really dropped under half health. She does have to pop a bubble shield to try and keep her alive, but a good rain of arrows is going to be chunking her out. As we see Askar's Firewall not really coming to much use, but Dramong himself has taken quite big damage as Older's keeping up the aggression on Pearl. Both health orbs spawning, and the red team actually losing out on the middle, but somehow, once again, Askar is the pain train, and as much as the red team started off that round really well, some big damage onto Pearl, Askar comes out of nowhere and changes it. GG. So that actually does mean we'll be going to a game 3 again. One more game, a lot more rounds potentially 9 more rounds depending on how things go. Very well played by Drama to turn that one around. They did actually beat the red team then, who are World Peace. So 1 apiece in our final tonight. We'll see what happens. It'll be a minute or 2 before the next game's up. I'll put on my top 5 players where you can grab a drink or whatever before the game starts and see what happens. Really could go either way. It's crazy stuff. Real back and forth. But the Pearl and Askar combo really proving deadly then, and nicely done. So for any bosses joining right now, we are currently in our NA final for tonight. We have seen both teams trade 1-for-1 in our best of 3 between Drama and World Peace, with some real exciting games coming out with the likes of Jamong and Older, Askar and Pearl, which we saw there, the Freya and Lucy, and real nice plays. Both teams once again will be moving on to the final, which is going to be taking place on the 11th of November, which will see all the finalists from EU in a separate competition. EU, the 8 finalists from EU from the Q1 to Q4, And then NA, the finalists from Q1 to Q4, take in battle for $250 for each region. Big hype. So November 11th, don't miss it. It should be good. If this has anything to go by, we should be in for a lot of fun. So maybe we'll see some switch-ups coming. The Asuka and Pearl was proving dead, you know. Even though both teams have qualified for the finals in 2 weeks' time, there's a lot of importance here. You have the bragging rights. And also, you do get the top seed going into the tournament, which is going to be important with all the other bigger teams in there. That tournament, for any bosses that I'd be about, will be starting at 7 PM. EU will be kicking off then, and midnight for NA, which I believe works out at 7 PM for you guys over in America. Yeah, one apiece. This is going to be our final game for tonight, and it will be finally all over. Has some real exciting games, that's for sure. Yeah, we'll be underway shortly. They're just choosing the final map they want to show down on. It's important stuff, and they're going to be getting under there. Champions are getting picked now, and we'll be able to start casting the game very shortly. Alrighty then, teams have been picked. We're about to get underway for tonight's big finale. We've had some pretty damn clutch games going through the semi-finals. The semi-final was actually the first time I've seen a best of 3 out of the previous 3 tournaments go to all 3 rounds, and well, now the final going to all 3 rounds. The teams really evenly matched, both ranked 14, taking it to each other. As we see them now drawn one apiece, with our blue side being world peace against the red side that is drama. Well, we have plenty of drama. We've certainly had plenty of drama so far. We'll see how this actually starts panning out, as already some big damage coming out. The red team are going to stick with the Asuka and Pearl combo that did work very nicely in the previous round. I was quite surprised they did drop a game in the end, a little bit too aggressive and did actually cost them, but we're going to see Jamong and Older sticking to it. They are happy with their comp they have here. You know, it really could go either way. We'll see how it pans out with the blue team looking a little bit more commanding at the moment. They did actually pick up that middle orb to start things off. 40 seconds already done. We're going to see a big rain of arrows coming on to the red side Pearl. And a nice ultimate coming out of Older to take this. Looks to be one apiece. And that's Asuka can actually pick something off. He does actually have his ultimate up, but we're not going to see the full effect of that bad boy. GG. Very nice. I mean, that was the first time we haven't actually seen Infernal Scorch. Well, almost got popped, but we didn't actually see it in its full effect. Asuka's been very dominant. It's one thing what's really worked well for the Asuka games is him actually dominating and getting his ultimates early, but not today. As we come in, round 2. Again, this is the finale bosses. There is no more stakes. Potentially 8 more rounds to go, but after that, there shall be no more. And they'll be able to show down on the 11th of November for that big $250 prize pool. You can see a nice bear trap coming out of Jamong. Both teams trading blow for blow again. Looking pretty favourable for the blue side. Asuka making nice use of his firewall to be able to actually pick up middle orb again, which is really nice. What we did actually see in the previous round, Jamong was able to actually walk over it, but wasn't able to get there in time. And this is a good start. He's pretty close to getting his ultimate now. We'll see what happens. Jamong already under 40% health, and Infernal Scorch isn't going to actually connect with its target, but it does split them more importantly, which could be the big issue. A nice Petrify coming out of Older is actually going to give him time to retreat to the top side, as we see Jamong actually miss his Dragon Slayer ultimate, and Jaws coming out and not really getting anything. Fancied a bit of sheep. It's just going to go home with a bit of rock, unfortunately. A bit of fresh air. As we see the blue team cornered in at the bottom side, they didn't really have too much going for them. A nice trap is actually going to be able to stop Asuka coming out on the outside, but if they really wanted to, they could just leap over there. But I feel they're taking it easy. They're taking it easy off, and they're going to be able to secure middle orb. So really this is only going to be a matter of time before the red team actually take this to one apiece. A nice red orb, the red team did actually still pick up that middle orb. Infernal Scorch, once again, not really doing too much, but it does actually split them as Pearl gets a nice silence onto them wrong, but a big ultimate coming out of Alder is going to keep him alive for the time being, but unfortunately, they just took too much of a pounding then. We see Jaws take a bite out of some sheep. Rip. Nicely done. One apiece. These guys are putting on a show. Very nice. Alrighty then. Let's see what we can get going coming into round 3. We're going to see them decide to pick up their Battlerites going into this one. With really either team could take this final. It could go any way possible. It's been really exciting. I can't call it at all. Both teams are looking really good. It's just depending on who can really land that sort of original poke. Who kind of lands that sort of hard CC. Does Asuka get his stun off? Can Asuka get his ultimate quick enough? Does he get a nice firewall to actually secure that first middle orb? You know, there's so much that comes into this at this sort of level at the moment, as he does actually use his firewall pretty early here. It does actually allow him to get some massive damage onto the wrong, and instead of going for the orb, he's actually going to look for the kill here, using his Petrify from his Q to stun Alder and pick up Jamong very nicely then. So we've seen a lot of the time Asuka actually holds his firewall to make sure that they secure the middle orb, but this time around he felt that he had a good trade going for him, and chucking that firewall down, he took nothing, 100% health pretty much going into that, and GG, very nicely played. As Asuka puts the red team in the lead for the first time this game. Big hype. We're going to see some movement speed coming out of Jamon, which is going to be important. He wants to be getting around the map quicker. We're going to see an Asuka. I don't know if it's a good thing there. He's going to be getting the additional bonus XP, which is, we've seen how quickly he gets his ultimates already with that bonus XP. It's going to be pretty scary stuff. As we see both teams trading blow for blow at the moment, not really too much going on. I'm sure the big first battle we're really going to see is when this middle orb spawns. Asuka actually getting a bit aggressive here. Doesn't have any energy to chuck down his fire shield at the moment, as we do see rain arrows miss the target. It has gone down a little bit too early here, really. I do think the blue team are going to be able to steal this with a nice Petrify coming onto him. And that actually just fall into their hands. Nicely done. As Asuka actually rotate top, does actually pick up both health orbs for himself, which is nice. Another good rain of arrows coming onto him. Is going to whip him down slightly, and a big charge arrow coming out of Jamong there. That was real nice damage. His firewall a little bit late there and isn't really going to do too much effect. Jaws is ready. And we have seen him land onto Jamon. Jamon actually dashed, and that was really well read by Pearl. He had no chance of escaping out at that point in time, but Alder actually does decide to chuck Jamon onto Asuka and put some big damage down as he uses his dash to get into the action, as they want to carry on the aggression here. Tasting the blood, they aren't giving up, and this is a real good start for our blue team, looking pretty commanding here. But we want to be a bit careful. One kind of cock up could turn this around. Nice rain of arrows is really going to drop Asuka. Under 20% health at the moment. Pearl completely stuck on the top side herself, and it's not looking very good for our red team, as he uses his dash to the top side, only cornering in. We do see Alder with his ult. Let's see how he actually decides to plan this out. Instead of using his Petrify, which he actually missed this time around. Some nice damage being traded. The red team are still alive. Blue team taking it easy. They pick up the middle orb, and with sudden death about to be ending in 20 seconds, the blue team know they can sit here comfortably and be happy with the safer option instead of having to go too greedy. You know, looking at it now, they could probably quite easily wreck them, but at the same time, it's a safer option. Make sure, obviously, with this being the finale of the best of 3, and they want that top seed, there's no harm in them playing saber here and waiting for the sudden death to push them into them. Once again, securing middle orb and allowing them to get their ultimates. GG. Pearl down. Asuka really didn't stand a chance, and that's going to be 2-2. Really nice. Good job. GG.
It shall happen again. Always happen again.
Alrighty then, we're just waiting for the blue side to pick their final talent. As we get things away, the rounds are ticking down. There's only 5 rounds left, and we're going to have the winner. Who will it be? Da-da, da-da, da-da. Waiting on the master time to once again. Really struggling. He can't make up his mind whatsoever. Time has spoken, and he has decided. As we go into it, round 5. Once again, when you guys join in, this has been a best of 3 series, with World Peace taking the first one and Drama putting it back to 1-1, with a winner going to be taking place in our next 5 rounds, potentially earlier, depending how things go. Nice bit of chunk damage coming out of the blue side. We are going to see Askar miss his projectiles there, and a nice firewall is going to allow the red team to pick up middle orb, I believe, this time around. Even though it was a bit lopsided, they were still able to get that final attack. And looking pretty good at the moment as Jamong's kind of dropped under, losing 20% of health in that trade, but Older healing them up pretty nicely with his bags of sand. We are going to see Askar decide to mount up to try and get around the south side a little bit quicker, and does make nice use of his firewall, but does lose out on mid orb in the process. As you see him currently under 50% health, but he's going all out onto the Jamong. We do see a very nice ultimate coming out of Pearl, which is only going to throw Jamong on top of her. I don't know if that was actually the greatly positioned ultimate then, considering she could have thrown him anyway. She kind of actually put herself in harm's way, but somehow is still alive as Askar coming to the rescue, making a big end further scorch, and somehow she still hasn't actually died here, and that is going to be massive. And unfortunately for Older, I really thought the blue team had that one then. The ultimate kind of seemed to screw Pearl over with throwing Jamong on top of her, especially with Older on ultim as well, but good counterplay. GG. 3-2 to our red team. Damn. That was pretty clutch. How's it going? No need to mess around with the talents this time, as we're getting straight into the battle, with the red team needing 2, and the blue team going to be needing that extra one for free. Askar trading some nice plays with Jamong. I feel that Jamong's kind of come a little bit off on the top side of this, but nice heals coming out of either support to keep their allies nice and safe. The firewall a little bit late here, but again he didn't actually have the energy at the start to be able to make that happen, as we do see the middle orb falling to our blue time this time around. But some nice trades coming out of the red side onto them. Older looking pretty healthy. Rain of arrows is actually going to miss its target, and it's going to be a bit of a waste of energy coming out of Jamong, but a big silence is actually going to chunk out as Askar rotates to the top side, and once again I feel he wastes his firewall, especially with mid orb coming up now, and it does actually pick it up for his team luckily, but it was a little bit wasted. It's not actually going to cost him. We see Older has his ultimate ready and is ready to let time be known, as we see each team trading pretty reasonably. A nice counter coming out by Pearl, but nothing too much should be coming out of that, as we see Askar once again floating to the top side to try and put some nice damage onto Older as he rotates bot and actually gets a big petrify onto Pearl. We've seen him come out with the Infernal Scorch and Jaws, and this could be what the red team needs to take this to 4-2. As Older is in all kinds of trouble, they really need to keep up this aggression, and GG, really nice play coming out by Askar and Pearl, a great combo. The double ultimate, he really didn't stand a chance. We do see Askar again a bit of aggressive. He's going to have to be a little bit careful with you. See the in-cap with Pearl full health and stacked up on her heels. The red team are going to take this 4-2. Bada bada boom. So, has it all come down to this? After 2 games already being 1 apiece, could we have our champions tonight in draft, who originally thought they were really struggling in the first round and were able to start clawing it back, but did drop it, and then with the Pearl and Askar combo completely turned around the second round, and once again looking pretty dominant in this third round against the Jamong and Older combo. We might see mid orb coming up, and this is going to be pretty huge now. The red team do smell the blood and looking pretty strong, but a great rain of arrows coming down on Askar as he actually drops under 50% health, but a nice firewall is actually going to be able to stop the incoming damage. He does actually miss out his molten fist is a little bit too slow to pick up the middle orb this time around. As we see each team trading blow for blow, and the red team looking a little bit low here. Askar already on 20% health. That first trade didn't really work too well in his favor then. As the blue team looking pretty healthy. We see Dragon Slayer ready. They're going to be able to pull back, get a middle. We're about a minute away from sudden death. I don't think we're actually going to be entering it at this rate. As we see him line up his ultimate. And he did actually just, I'm not sure if Poe actually landed a silence on him or not, because with a Petrify there, that was a guaranteed ultimate, and I'm pretty sure that she would have killed Ashkar there. But nonetheless, blue team looking very commanding at the moment. They trade blow for blow. Good use of his rain of arrows once again. I think this is better than him using the ultimate. It's a lot safer. The snare you go, it does some solid damage, and it's poking them down with sudden death going to be looming on us pretty shortly. It's better than wasting all his energy on a missed ultimate. As you make good use of rain arrows, they really kind of need to keep this aggression, or they can play the safer option and secure every orb, secure the mid orbs, and red team really don't have much of a chance here as time is starting to tick down. Asgard does go aggressive, does actually get a nice Petrify onto Alder, and it actually combos it with the jaws, but unfortunately with Alder being pretty healthy at the moment, it was going to be a big shot, but they had not much option with sudden death closing in. Time was ticking. 3-2? 4-2? 4-3? Jesus Christ. 4-3. Wow. It's not over until it's over, but again, this is the best of 3, so this has to be it. There is no more games. We can actually have 2 rounds or 1 round, and that's it. Close stuff. As we see both teams charging into mid lane once again. The red team too much of a pounding here, but looking pretty good at the moment, with Ashkar landing some nice projectiles onto either target, but I feel he wants to really pick one at the moment. Switching focus isn't really going to do them any favours. Nice bubble shield coming out from Pearl will keep them nice and healthy, as the rain of arrows is put down, as we see the blue side actually pick up the middle orb this time around, which could be exactly what they need to pull themselves back into this final. As both supports doing all they can to heal up their allies. We see trade for trade, a big silence coming out of Pearl. She does take a bit of rain to arrows to the face here. Middle orb is up once again. That's actually going to fall to the blue team. Both of their ultimates ready now. This could be what they need to take this before a beast. Asker already looking pretty low. We've got to be a bit careful. Jamon could get a nice ult here. He can decide to use his rain arrows, which I think is the safer play here, especially with Asker who still holds his 2 dashes. And he's got his ultimate up, and with a good Infernal Scorch could really change things. So we'll see how this actually pans out as both teams are taking a bit of a pounding. Blue team do want to secure the middle orb for the 3rd time in this game. So things looking pretty tight. We're about to have a winner, or about to have a very tense finale incoming. As Asker is taking a massive pound, instead of going for his ultimate, he's going to have to use his firewall defensively to avoid that incoming pounding he's taking. We're actually going to see a nice ultimate coming out of Alder onto Asker. He does actually use an Infernal Scorch to pick up middle orb, but well countered by Asker. Alder, sorry, as he uses Times of Sand to avoid the incoming damage and put a bit of pain down onto Asker. Did secure middle orb for his team, but that's not what they really need right now. With the blue team going to easily pick this up, we are going to see Jamong's ultimate ready, once again deciding to go for rain arrows. I think this probably is the smarter call. But at the same time, with sudden death closing and him holding his ultimate, if he can get a nice hit here, we'll actually keep them out of these sudden death arenas for sure. Big hit onto Asker, who's actually able to cancel some of the incoming damage. Jaws is wasted by Pearl here. I'm not really sure where she thought she was going with it. With the arena closing in so much, I think it'd been better holding onto it to potentially try and use it to throw them out when there isn't much room to breathe. So we look at the blue team, are looking for a shot. A nice juke coming out by Asker, but unfortunately does take a bit of a pan on that backside. Just use a nice firewall to avoid those incoming autos. But looks in all kinds of trouble as Alder's able to land a nice Petrify onto Pearl. 4-4 is, wow. This is going to be a tense finale. Real going down to the wire. And as Pearl can pull out some godlike plays. This is what I mean, if she held onto her ultimate now, if she catch both of there and then she can actually reposition them and bring them out, who knows what would happen. Ooh wee, dearie me. Tense stuff. Wow. GG. It's certainly going to be interesting to see both these teams going into the finale between the 8 teams from the previous qualifiers on November the 11th. Wow. Here we go then. This is going to be our final game tonight, bosses. There is no more stakes. World Peace 4, Draft 4. Currently both teams holding 1-1. As each team taking power. Nice firewall coming out by Asker. We do see Tremont coming in with his cloak. He doesn't actually able to get his in cap, but does lose out on the middle orb as the red team pick it up this time. Nicely done by them. Aldo taking a bit of damage on the outside, does actually pick up both health boards, but Astro isn't going to let this lie as he goes in for the big pain train, but getting petrified in his place by that hourglass. With 40 seconds down already, I really don't know who's going to be crowned our winners of our Q4 tonight. With the blue team picking up their first orb this round. A nice ultimate coming in, this could be real big. We'll see what Asken can do as he actually chucks out his Molten Fist and comboed with the silence. Alder really had no chance. By the time he was actually able to use his escape, he was in the pain train, and that was the combo we were able to see. Combo with the Infernal Scorch. He had no other option, getting stunned, silenced, then as soon as he dashes, the Infernal Scorch is up and it's ripped. It's going to have to be a massive turnaround for Tremont to actually turn this around here. As we see, it looks like our World Peace are going to be crowned our winners tonight. Oh, draft, sorry, draft. World Peace are actually getting beaten, I apologize. So, draft are our winners. Damn, son. What a turnaround. That was some... What a game. What a semi-final. What an everything. The semi-final to the finals that was intense. That was real intense. Congratulations to Draft on their victory there. They are our winners of our PlayTourney Q4. So basically, the situation now with everything is we get the brackets up so you can drama. Sorry, I don't know where I got draft from. Drama. My apologies. Drama. I knew it started with a D. It's getting a bit too late for me. For all you guys in America, it's like 4 in the morning for me right now. So basically, the situation is both finalists will be going to the. Yeah, my apologies. I'm just real late. I'm really tired. These NA games do me like, yeah, man. So drama. My apologies, not draft. Close enough. Are going to be going to the finals with World Peace, which are going to be taking place on the 11th of November. The EU one will start at 7 PM. This is going to be on a Friday, and then the NA one will be at 12 PM. This is English time, so I believe it's going to work out for the NA will be 7 PM for you Americans. That's going to be 11th November, $250 up for grabs for EU, and a separate $250 for NA. Thank you very much. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. You put on some real exciting game bosses, real exciting games like the EU. I really enjoyed the EU tournament today, but the American one knocked out the show. I haven't seen any of the best of 3 series go past 2 games. Generally, it's kind of been a whitewash, really. You know, the one team's kind of sort of dominated, but that semi-finals and into that final was real tense. But yeah, I say it's like 4 o'clock in the morning for me, so I'm actually gonna hit the sack. I'm glad you guys have enjoyed. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Congratulations to Drama for winning the tournament tonight and going to be taking the top seed going into the finals. So I hope all you bosses will be here. November the 11th will be where we'll be taking the place to the finals. Also, if you guys are interested, I'm going to be doing a 24-hour stream next Saturday, start about 9 AM English time. It will be a mix of Battlerite League, like Paragon, and some Titanfall 2. But yeah, GG. See you bosses there. Take it easy and have a good night, whatever you guys may be up to. Peace.
For she is the Countess who stalks the night.
Finally, we have our ultimate ability, Feast. Causes her targets to glaze into her mysterious eyes, stunning them in